Well, here we are, back again on a beautiful Wednesday night here for the Moonshiners Racing League for the OB Builders Cup Series. And man, I'm excited for this race, the RSI Button Boxes 200 at Gateway. Well, it's been an incredible season, and it's only going to get better, as tonight I'm Eddie Smith, and I am joined by my good buddy, the redneck announcer himself, Jake Reeves. Jake, how are we doing tonight?
Well, Eddie, I'm telling you right now, buddy, we are absolutely ecstatic right here for the Moonshiners Racing League. Going to be here at Gateway. I'm telling you, it's going to be an absolute blast to call this race with you here for the next couple of weeks. Matter of fact, for the rest of the season. Eddie, I cannot wait to get this bad boy going, as we got a lot of drivers out there on the grid here tonight.
Yes, sir. Well, we've had a fantastic run of races so far. This gets sort of into the summer part of the NASCAR schedule. Gateway, Sonoma, Iowa, New Hampshire, these are all very technical tracks, not your normal 1.5 milers. And so you can see we've got a long stretch of very difficult courses. And then to top it all off, you go to that third column up there, and it's the Chicago Street Course. It's Pocono and Indianapolis. Good Lord, we're going to need 2 weeks off when we get done here. But let's take a look at your point standings as they sit just a couple minutes before we get gridded up. Alex Coffey leading the points, and Matt Cox after last week was able to kind of creep up there, but these guys not worried about points right now. Still a long season left to go. And we talked to Matt Cox. He said, yeah, I'm not worried about points right now. I got 2 wins in the bag. Alex Coffey, though, big deal for him tonight. He was suspended after last week, so he will miss this race, and he's desperate for that win. He has been looking for it all season long and has not been able to get it. So Alex Coffey being out tonight, that's a big deal for the points. If you're Matt Cox, you got to be happy about that. And so we'll see how that shakes everything up for next week as we jump into a road course. But tonight we're at Gateway, and man, Jake, tell me about this track.
Well, I mean, Eddie, this track is really very different than any track that you would see the Moonshiners Racing League go to, because it's completely crazy the way that it is. I mean, you dive off into turn number 1. There you see with the banking on that, it's a little bit more steeper than it would be, say, over in turn 3. And yes, egg oval, obviously. And this track, honestly, Eddie, this track, it is straight up basically raced like a short track. There you see right there at 1.25 miles right here in Madison, Illinois. Very technical racetrack like you were talking about, Eddie. And like I said, a little bit of short track. We already saw a little bit of what happened with the NASCAR Cup Series. That little bit of a short track feel, obviously, both of the Kyles battling it out going into turn 1. So a lot of drivers out here on the grid. I wouldn't be surprised to have that short track feel here tonight at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Well, I love it. We're going to segue right into it. You talked about the grid, and we're going to jump right into it. We don't want to waste any time, because you know what, Jake, there are 38 drivers here tonight. That is an insane field, and it's been like that all season long. What a great job Barry Sanders and the team, admin team, does at this series to have this kind of fields. It's going to be a good one. Let's jump right in. On the pole is going to be Shane Davis with Chad Sullivan in that second position. In third is going to be Paul Gallimore with Kyle Holden there in fourth position. Blaze Crawford will be taking over for Alex Coffey tonight. He'll start fifth with Barry Sanders in sixth position. Seventh, going to be Tim Wortman Jr. with Brandon Fetterplace in the eighth spot. Ninth is Hunter Carmichael. 10th, Jeffrey Taylor. And Jake, tell us about the rest of the top 20.
Then we got Randy Mullins and Matthew Campbell. They're going to make up row number 6, 11th, and 12th, respectively. Matt Cox, we talked about him up there, second in the points coming into tonight, Eddie. He's going to be looking to capitalize on Alex Coffey being out this week. He's going to have to roll off in P13 with Blaine Wilson starting right beside of him in P14. Chris Davis and Sean Rogers, they're going to make up row number 8, 15th, and 16th, respectively. Then you got Justin Belmont and Mick King. They're going to be 17th and 18th. And rounding out the top 20, Paul Whitley. And check it out right there. Good old Shane White right there in the number 13 subbing as well.
Well, for 21st, we got Nigel Christensen with Jamison Middlemiss in that 16 car. Going to roll off in 22nd. 23rd is going to be Caden Orfrey with Tucker Rhodes in that number 20 and 24th. Warren Young in the number 10, going to roll off 25th with Nicholas Atwood in 26th. Garrett Crawford in 27th with Darren Mills in 28th. Brandon Bikey, last week's winner, going to have a tough go at it this week. I don't know if he's got a penalty. I have to go back and look, but I don't think he qualified. He's going to start in 29th with Aaron Matthews. Round out your top 30.
Then you got Andrew Nider will end up starting in the 31st spot. Then right beside of him, you're going to have Sean Kaltenbach going to be in that 32nd spot. Then right behind them, you're going to have Jordan Schmeets. He will be 33rd. John Binder will end up being in 34th. Ryan Huff's going to be 35th, with Matt Macklin will be in 36th. Jared Clark is going to be 37th, and rounding them out, caboose car all the way back there in the back in 38th. It's going to be Dean Motley.
Well, that is a big old field to get this thing done. Let's take a look at your race analysis as they come around to, they'll have 2 laps of pace here, and take a look at it, 160 laps here tonight. Pit road speed, 45 miles an hour, 6 tire sets available to these drivers, and we have 1 green-white checkered attendant if we need it, 100% fuel load, and stages are lap 40 and 80. Fuel run's going to be anywhere between 65 and 70, so be paying attention to that fuel strategy. That played a big part of the race on Sunday. We'll see if it has anything to do with it tonight. Well, we got through all the rigmarole, and Jake, let's talk about Gateway, man. What a fun track this thing is. It's different. You know, this looks like Darlington's little younger brother. It's not as fast, doesn't have the banking up against the wall. You're going to be fighting to try to find this space, multiple lanes, trying to get these cars around that track. You know, with it being open setup, you're going to have a chance to kind of work on it a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, this is a very difficult technical track, and it requires a lot of patience.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing you mentioned right there, patience, Eddie. And, you know, one thing about this, I talked about this right here, that this track has that little bit of a short track feel, I guess you could say, with all the braking and, you know, the throttle management that these guys is going to have to deal with. And as you mentioned, they got to have the patience to be able to drive around here. But with that short track mentality that this track comes out with, these other drivers has got to have patience with some of the stack ups that you may end up seeing. And one thing we're really going to see right here is on the start and the restarts as well, is guys diving it going into turn 1. You could end up seeing 4 wide at points going into turn 1 as they are looking their way off of turn number 4. Here we go, Eddie.
Getting this thing ready to roll. Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway. Shane Davis leading us down to the green flag. 160 laps. The RSI button box is 200. We're green.
We are green, and we are clean so far up at the front and all the way through the field. Shane Davis down on the bottom side. Got Chad Sullivan up on the top side. Sullivan trying to see if he can get the run, but Davis, he's going to send it down on the bottom side. Everybody keeping it clean as they work their way down the backstretch going into turn 3.
Really good start for Chad Sullivan on that outside with Shane Davis there neck and neck and not giving an inch. It looks like Chad Sullivan's going to get a little bit of nose ahead, and we're going to see that outside line, I think, be dominant as the tires go on. So this restart is very, very important if you're going to be be running up front all night long. So you see these guys trying to get those positions where they can. Chad Sullivan will take the lead. Now the battle is in 4th and 5th between Paul Gallimore and Blaze Crawford.
Yeah, and Crawford really looking pretty good up there on that top side. You talked about it, Eddie. He's subbing in for Alex Coffey. And Crawford trying to do a fantastic job just trying to help out with the team points. Crawford up top, Gallimore down on the bottom. Workman right behind him, and he's got Carmichael right behind him as well. But I'm telling you, Crawford is not wanting to give up. He has got it maybe clear as no, he's going to jump down and chop his nose off, chopped off Gallimore's nose. Crawford won the spot, and damn it, he took it right there.
Yeah, that was a great move. Track position is just too important. You want to say, hey, just get in line and I'll ride, but I think at this track, you're just not going to be able to do that. Passing is going to be a premium. You're going to have to take those positions when you can get it, and I think that was a big move by Blaze Crawford to jump down in front of Paul Gallimore and let him kind of catch up to these top 3 that started to pull away when they got side by side, and that's something that we'll see as the runs go on. The outside line will be strong to defend. I think you'll want to use the whole track here But when you need to defend a position, you can run that top side and the bottom just going to get chopped off on the exit and just not be able to get the run that it needs. So it's going to be incredibly difficult to make those moves. So you got to take any opportunity. So aggression, I think, is going to be really important here, and I think we saw Blaze kind of put that into action there.
Yeah, I mean, and Crawford had to go. I mean, it's like you said, Eddie. I mean, he didn't want to get, held up. Nothing against Gallimore. But Crawford wants to get up here. Holden and all of them, they were starting to break away. And now you're actually starting to see the top 3 guys look like they are starting to kind of break away. But Crawford trying to see if he can edge up here, I should say. And Davis, he looks like he's all over the place. I mean, he's not all over the place. I mean, the car is fine, but he's just trying to find the best line that he can to try to find the grip, get up here and get a hold of Chad Sullivan. Sullivan doing a fantastic job, started on the outside of the front row, and ever since then, I mean, he's took the lead right from Shane Davis, and Davis wants to get it back, but he's got to find that grip. He's got to find the line to get up here and try to take this lead back.
Yeah, everybody's starting to settle in right now. Chad Sullivan is the fastest car on the track with a 34.4. Everybody else is in the 5s or the 6s. Now, tire wear at these tracks, while it is important, it's not detrimental. I think you want to save, I guess, a little bit. You don't want to abuse the tires, but I don't think you're gonna do a lot of real aggressive saving here. I think you got to just get into a groove, put the lap times down, try to keep that track position, and try to get through these pit stops and try to just be there at the end. I think I'm interested to see how the passing is going to work, and actually going to go look back here between Matt Cox and Randy Mullins. These are championship contenders, and Matt Cox has been on the move here tonight. He is already up 6 or 5 spots from where he started in 13s, up to 8.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned it, and we talked about it. It's all been through the Moonshiners Racing League that Alex Coffey is not here this evening, and that's all that Matt Cox really needed to worry about. He wants to try to take every advantage that he can and get up here and get him some points, especially get him some stage points with the stages of how they are here in this league. Want to try to get up there and get as many points as he can to try to close that gap. And if he does good enough, hell, Eddie, he may end up passing Alex Coffey before the night is over with. So there is a possibility that we could end up seeing a new point leader coming out of Gateway here this evening.
Yeah, he always seems to not qualify maybe the greatest, but Matt Cox is always somebody that we see up towards the front by the end of these things. And there's a lot of drivers that are like that in this. Brandon Bikey is somebody also that we'll pay attention to as the race goes on. Started in the back. He's already up a few spots. So a couple of drivers kind of working their way through the field. They got a long way to do it. But I would imagine these folks are going to be up front before the end of this thing. Going up front, though, Blaze Crawford has continued to kind of close that gap for 3rd place and is slowly starting to put a little pressure here on Kyle Holden. And I'm interested, Jake, just to see how difficult it is to pass, as we're 10 laps into this thing. If he gets up here, I wonder how difficult it's going to be to make these passes. I think that's going to be a pretty telling the way this race is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Eddie. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Crawford ends up getting to Holden, if he's able to get around him. It's, like I was talking about, that short track feel here at Gateway, and also the patience and everything else. We saw what happened with Crawford a while ago right there running with Gallimore. His patience just kind of wore thin. Gallimore put up a hell of a fight. He was on the inside, and Crawford was running on the outside. But at some point, Crawford's patience just kind of wore out, and he finally just said, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send it, and I'm going to jump down in front of him. And that's one of those things you got to do. Now, Crawford ends up getting up here to Kyle Holden, which is who you're riding on bull with right here. I mean, when he gets there, if he ends up feeling like that maybe he is a little bit faster than Holden at a certain point, you may end up seeing a little bit of a bumper tag. May see some door banging as Crawford actually gets a little loose coming off before he actually gets up into the fence. But, I mean, you never know what is really going to happen, but it's like I said, that short track feel. Bumpers will end up getting banged. Doors will end up getting banged. Tempers can flare. I've seen it done on iRacing, and I've seen it in the real world, Eddie. So only time will tell. Only time will tell with how this race is going to play out.
Yeah, a couple things I love about iRacers is that they all get on the mic and they all agree before the races. Hey, we're going to take our time, guys. Let's give each other time, give each other space. Let it get spread out, and then let's get to racing. You know, save your tires. You know, you'll hear that a lot, guys. Oh, I'm gonna save my tires. And then about lap 10, all that just kind of goes out the window sometimes. And so I think patience is such a difficult thing when you feel like you have a fast car. But right now, we're starting to see Kyle Holden kind of work his way back up to the second position of Shane Davis as we watch Matt Cox now get to the back bumper. Going to have a battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th here. Starting to see some tire wear start to factor in. Some guys start to lose track of the leaders and others moving forward. So all single file though right now. I'm not really surprised by that, but I'm interested to see how guys are going to make these passes. And you know, sometimes early on in the race, you kind of want to help facilitate it. Oh, we see Darren Mills down on the bottom here. The number 2 had some sort of issue. He has gone off track. Don't see any damage on that number 2 machine, but he is slow on the track, and he is going to stay in the groove as it gets up to speed. So hopefully nobody gets into the back of him. I don't know if he's got some problems or what, but obviously slow on the track.
Yeah, I mean, very, very slow, and he almost ended up getting tagged by Wortman. Wortman was really closing in, I guess you could say. Now, right here, Hunter Carmichael up on the top side. Matt Cox trying to go for another spot. Carmichael now up on the top side. Now Cox tries to see if he can slide in. Front 4 guys, they have separated themselves from Paul Gallimore, who's sitting in that 5th spot. And then this is the battle right here that you see on your screen for 6. You got Wortman, you got Carmichael, you got Cox, and you got Taylor. All of those guys, all 4 of them, have actually separated themselves from the 10th place guy, that being Randy Mullins. But this is a hell of a battle right here for this 6th spot on the racetrack. And Eddie, you know, we talked about it, lap 40, when it comes out here in, you know, give or take, the next 20 laps or so, going to start paying out those stage points and everything. And obviously, still got a good ways to go in the season since they're following the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Still a ways to go, but I mean, you got to try to get every little point that you can to try to make sure that you're going to be in that playoff picture come playoffs.
No doubt about it. Well, the field definitely spread out at this point. Lap 17. This track is just such a technical track. So let's go on board with our leader and let's watch what it takes to be fast at this track. And you're going to see it's not as aggressive as you'd like to be. Guys are going to be trying to make passes. They're going to be shifting aggressively. You see right down into 4th, right across the rumble strips. And you can hear that car almost seems like it's coming to a complete stop. That's how slow they have to go around this track. That turn 3 and 4 is so long that you have to be patient. You get on the gas too soon, the car either over rotates or you kind of push out towards the end of the wall if you get on the gas too early. And you can see he's actually shifting down to 3rd in 1 and 2. That's just how much different that turn is compared to 3 and 4. And it is a patience game. This track is just 1 1/4 mile, but it takes them 35 seconds to get around this thing. That is really, really slow. So you can see just creeping around these corners, and that requires a ton of patience. That right rear, you want to keep that thing on there. You do not want to spin the tires.
Absolutely, Eddie, and you mentioned it right there, going down into 3rd gear, especially going into turn 1, which is where Chad Sullivan is right now. I mean, he's not in 5th gear, and that's one thing about the custom setup, or open setup, I should say, with these cars, is that you can actually you can actually change the rear end ratio here on these cars and actually make it however you want it. You can end up having a 5-gear setup. You can have a 4-gear setup. Hell, you can even end up having a 3-gear setup if you wanted to try to make it work like that. But a lot of guys, they build setups like that. I've had the same setups where you don't even want to use 5th gear. You just end up using however you can make the car, and then have that rear end ratio to make it a 4-gear setup. And so, that's very, very common to see, especially for open setup. Now, had this been a fixed setup, oh yeah, he'd been in 5th gear and coming down into 4th gear all day long. But with the open setup and being able to build the car how you want it within the iRacing specifications, that kind of throws a little bit of a curveball, and that's why you see him going into third gear, going into the turns, and especially staying in fourth gear and not going up to fifth, which is what we usually see with the with real NASCAR.
Yeah, and they're just fighting for any kind of horsepower. When you're this slow on a track that has so little banking, I mean just 11 degrees and 9 degrees on each side of the track, you're fighting for grip on throttle, and you're going so slow that you have to kind of get those RPMs up, or the car just bogs down, and you just don't get the run off the corner. You lose a ton of time, especially in 3 and 4 where it's so long. You want to kind of go down to the corner and then just kind of lay your foot on the throttle just a little bit, just to keep the speed up in the middle until you can finally pick up the throttle down the front straightaway. So it's important that you find that get the RPMs in a range where you get enough power that you can rotate the car off the corner, because if not, it's just going to bog down and you're going to lose a ton of speed down the straightaway. But man, these drivers look like they're in a good groove right now, and Chad Sullivan has not been able to pull away, as Shane Davis the last couple laps has been a tenth or so faster than Chad here. Chad's sitting in way back into the points, but he does have 2 wins on the season, so Chad is not a stranger to the lead. And man, he has had a really good first stage here, and that's going to set him up for a very, very good stage number 2. But go back to this little battle. This is kind of what I want to watch, and I want to see how these guys make these passes. There's a couple groups. You got this little group right here, and then you got the one right behind them that's Barry Sanders, Randy Mullen, Sean Rogers, and Brandon Fetterplace. As you can see Darren Mullins there, Darren Mills, excuse me, with that is, ooh, Sean Rogers almost gets in the back bumper of Barry Sanders there, as they had to check up a little bit going in the corner, as Darren going to move up out of the groove. But a couple groups here, and what that tells me is that they're kind of just stacked up with not being able to make the passes. Here we go. Sean Rogers got a run that he needs. Going to look down to the inside, and we're just going to see how difficult it is to make a pass on the bottom. And you can see just bogging that car down, and as they come off the corner, Barry's going to have the run off the corner, and Sean just not able to do it. Jake, talking about patience and trying not to be frustrated, you could see Sean Rogers getting on the brakes. He was actually kind of chattering the front tires. You can see that front end kind of shifted back and forth as he's trying to get around Barry. Oh, Barry's going to get loose off the corner, and they make contact.
Wow, Barry Sanders able to keep it straight right there with that little bit of contact with Rogers. Rogers having to slide back now. So Sanders is going to be able to get going right there. One thing I do want to mention, there was maybe a little bit of contact up there with, I believe it was Hunter Carmichael and Matt Cox when they went into turn 3 a couple of laps ago. Cox tried to send it in on the bottom. He slid up, maybe a little bit of door banging between Hunter Carmichael and Cox, and both of them was able to keep it straight. But I mean, Eddie, you was talking about it as well, with the tires and how everything is. Everybody's trying to get runs. Everybody's trying to advance their position. As Rogers back there, he's going to take another shot at Sanders, but Sanders is going to keep it up top. Rogers down the bottom, but check it out. Got a little battle going on up here at the front from what we're seeing right here. That's Paul Gallimore up here. He's actually going to jump around Blaze Crawford, and ironically enough, Eddie, I mean, we talked about it. Crawford kind of chopped the nose on Gallimore earlier on here in this race. And now Gallimore, he's just going to slide right by Crawford. So, Gallimore's got to really be loving that, especially after what happened earlier.
Yeah, it looks like Gallimore just saved a little bit better tires. Blaze really struggling at the moment. He had a really bad lap last time by, so those tires starting to kind of come apart on Blaze. He might have pushed it just a little bit too hard early. Now he's going to fall back into the clutches. That's maybe that second group led by Tim Wortman Jr. But, yeah, with that contact between Barry Sanders, and we're going to actually go back to that because that battle's still going on, as Blaine Wilson was able to get around Sean Rogers, and you could see the frustration. This is where that contact comes into play, and Barry got loose because he was trying to gas it up off the corner and just gets a little bit loose and comes down and makes that little bit of contact. But that's just him being aggressive, knowing that I want to keep this track position and make you, the driver that's making that pass on the bottom, make it happen, because we've already seen it has been very difficult unless you can help facilitate it just a little bit. So you can see Sean Rogers tried to make a move, going to lose a spot for doing it, and Barry Sanders is going to keep going. But you see Sean still looking, trying to be aggressive on entry because they're going so slow in the middle of the corner. And you can see he's trying to get on the gas to get the run down the straightaway. He's actually going to get a nice little run here. Going to send it down in the corner. Blaine, though, drives it really deep in the corner and defends that. So just see how tough it is. A lot of times guys want to make those passes off the corner. You want to get a run off the corner, get a run down the straightaway, and get to the inside. But you're going to have to be creative here, I think, to make passes once the tires start to get a little wear on them. And Sean is really struggling here to make that work.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to try to figure it out pretty damn quick, honestly, Eddie. I mean, you know, we're coming up this time around, 10 laps to go, and then that's when we're going to pay out those stage points. But Rogers, he's been putting up a serious fight each and every time, trying to get around Wilson. He tried to get around Sanders, the little contact happened, and that's actually opened the door for another driver back here, and that's Campbell, Matthew Campbell, that you see right there in the 81 right behind him in that red car. Campbell's actually got up here as well and tried to get going, and maybe end up seeing maybe Rogers overshoots the corner. Maybe he tries to dive it in too hard, and then maybe slides up
right in front of him, a wreck.
There's a big crash on the backstretch.
Matt Cox, and it looks like Randy Mullins. I can't say, it's Jeffrey Taylor. Down on the inside, Jeffrey Taylor, big hit to that little gap on the backstretch, and he is out of this thing, and he's going to the pits. You can see just unbelievable. It's kind of like I can't believe this. As he's out of, you can see the frustration on his face as he makes contact, and we'll go back and check this out as caution does come out. Let's take a look and see what happened between these two. This is that little spot, and you can see where we're seeing, oh man, back it up just a little bit, and this is all, I'm trying to think of the name of the 15. Blaze Crawford is kind of falling through the field here, and because of it, a lot of checkups going on, and then right here, Matt Cox gets into the back bumper of Jeffrey Taylor, and they both go right into the wall. Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, and Eddie, I mean, that spot right there on the backstretch is really, really different than any other track that you see because, that wall does kind of go out and then it comes back in. That's where these drivers are able to come inside of the racetrack. That's the entrance to be able to get in and out of the racetrack from the infield. And there you saw, I mean, you was talking about it, Crawford really off the pace, if you want to call it that, had his tires already burned up and everything, and that everybody was just trying to get around him. He was more or less a rolling roadblock is what he was, and so everybody was just trying to get around him. And what I'm trying to figure out though is they had that little stack up on the inside lane. Everybody's trying to get around Crawford, and then by the time Crawford got loose, he came down, Carmichael almost hit him. And I'm not sure exactly where Cox was going because Cox could have, he could have shot up to the outside lane and everything would have been fine. Instead, he just kind of drives it right into the right rear of Jeffrey Taylor and ends up sending him hard into the wall. So there was a gap up there that Cox could have went through and took that opportunity, but he just never did. He just gassed up and he just drove right into the right rear of Taylor and just basically just sent him straight into the wall.
Yeah, and we don't get, a lot of times we don't get the luxury of going back a couple laps and seeing what happens between two drivers if contact was made. So a lot of times frustration comes out, and we don't know if that's what that was. But if it was, you don't get to go back and see what happened between those two drivers. So it does look like maybe Matt was not happy about maybe the way Jeff was racing. Maybe Matt couldn't really see. But yeah, he definitely just kind of ran right into the right rear bumper and just sent him, and both of them going to end up with damage. So it turned out pretty bad for both of them, but I think Jeffrey Taylor has called it quits. Now pit stops did happen while we were kind of breaking down that wreck, and few drivers come down pit road, going to flip the stage here with just 5 laps to go. Barry Sanders is going to be one of them, Nick King, Jordan Schmeets, Aaron Matthews, Ryan Huff, and others all coming down pit road to get 4 tires and fuel and flip that stage that's going to go off on lap 40. So a lot of these drivers trying to get that track position, and I think that's a pretty good call, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is. I mean, if you're in this particular situation, especially for some of those guys that could be on the outside of the top 10, yeah, why not? Go ahead and flip it. maybe, have a shot to be able to try to stay out right here, because we talked about the fuel. Obviously, they're going to be able to make it if they do pit right here. I mean, hell, they're going to be able to make it to the next stage, which will be at lap 80 for stage 2. As you see Barry Sanders right there, got the virtual cam going on right there. But yeah, I mean, I love the strategy call too, especially for guys that's outside the top 10. Now, if they were in the top 10 and they made that pit stop, well, I mean, they just really screwed yourself. So, I mean, because they got a good shot at trying to get some stage points right here, but it threw a wrench, a big old monkey wrench right here in stage 1 as to how this could play out right here. And, one thing else about that as well is those guys that pitted, they're going to be on some fresher tires. So, granted, just this little short stint that we got before we get to the end of stage 1, you could see you could see something crazy right here, Eddie, with these guys on these old tires, especially coming off of turn 2. I've seen it done numerous times. Get on those old tires, get a little bit greasy out there on those back tires, and you can just loop it coming off of turn 2. And even on the cold tires, they can loop it as well. So, going to be a very, very interesting restart, and especially when they're coming off of turn 2 right here.
Yeah, those cold tires on a restart, it takes a couple laps for these things to get up to temperature. And so it is a dangerous proposition to try to make up a ton of time. But Chad Sullivan's got the lead. He's got 35 lap old tires. We're going to see who's going to win this stage as they come down to take the green flag. And we got just 5 laps to go in this stage. Oh, what a stack up as Paul Gallimore is going to get turned as I don't know if he missed a shift or what, but he is going to get turned and right in front of the field. And caution comes back out, Jake. Golly.
And I mean, honestly, I sat right there and I watched that right there, Eddie. All that happened in front of Gallimore. There you see Shane Davis. I mean, he didn't miss a shift. I mean, he just stood on the gas, and that's what I was talking about. How these tires is. He just stood on the gas, and then he just lost the back end of it and spun the tires is what he did. Gallimore, he had no idea what was going on at that particular point in time, just because it happened so damn quick right there. There you see, I mean, he just spins the tires, maybe was trying to shift up, and Gallimore ends up hitting him in the back end, and then it was just a chain reaction. It was a damn domino effect all the way back on the outside lane. Davis ends up getting hit by Gallimore. Gallimore ends up getting hit by the guy behind him, and then it was just a stack up on the outside. Gallimore was pretty much just in a bad, I mean, he was in the wrong place, wrong time right there. There you saw it right there. The guy that was behind Gallimore ended up getting shoved into Gallimore. I mean, it was a screwed up situation right there all the way around.
Yeah, Shane did a great job of not looping that thing. That would have been very, very easy to do. As you try to stand on the gas and that thing starts to go right to the outside wall, and he does a great job of holding on to it. But at that point, everybody is, man, they are full throttle. They got that afterburner flowing, and it is so difficult on those restarts to get guys to check up. And with these big old back bumpers, man, you can't see in front of that the guy in front of you. So if any kind of checkups happen in those lines, it's just an accordion effect that goes on forever until the caution does come out. Now, I don't know. I think this might be stage. We'll wait on some confirmation from that, but this could be our stage break, because I don't know if we'll go green before that's over with. So if that's the case, Chad Sullivan will take that stage win. So I don't think that we'll get any kind of green flag racing. We'll see, but that should be stage for us.
I believe it is, Eddie, because I'm actually seeing all the leaders right now: Chad Sullivan, Kyle Holden, Shane Davis, Tim Wortman Jr., and Blaze Crawford. Basically the top 5. There you see it. I mean, hell, the whole damn field. Literally going down the access road that you got to go down to get ready to go ahead and make those 4-tire pit stops and go ahead and fill it up full of fuel. So, yeah, I mean, I believe that right there pretty much done it right there for the stage. So, yeah, Chad Sullivan gets him a stage win here at Gateway, and in pretty much dominating fashion. I mean, once he took the lead, from Shane Davis right there on the started on the outside of the front row. Once he took the lead from Shane Davis, son, he never looked back. I mean, he was gone. I mean, he checked out. Davis was just trying to play catch up as much as he possibly could, and then every time Davis tried to maybe inch a little bit closer, Chad just put the afterburners on, and he ended up sending it, and he ended up getting 2/10 faster than him. So Chad Sullivan, basically a dominating performance right here in the very first stage.
Absolutely. Kyle Holden almost beats him off the pit road, but that's going to change a lot because right now, those drivers who came down and flipped the stage, it worked out in their favor because had they had to run 5 laps, it's not that much, but it's still enough that it will wear a little bit off the tires, gets them a little hot. But they never really got a chance to put any laps on those tires. So the guys who flipped the stage, Barry Sanders, Nick King, Jordan Schmeets, Warren Young, Aaron Matthews, Garrett Crawford, and Sean Kaltenbach, those guys, I mean, what a great gift that they got there to be able to just get free track position. And you know what? That's at a premium. That cost, inflation has done a lot for track position, and it's expensive, Jake. So if you can get it, especially as easy as they just did, that is what you want. So Barry's going to have all the advantage he needs now. And if you're Chad Sullivan, Kyle Holden, those guys, and Shane Davis, you got a lot of work to do to get back up to the front.
Absolutely. I mean, each and every one of those guys that done that flipping the stage like you were talking about right there, Eddie, I mean, each and every one of them, when they end up getting out of the sim rig, regardless of how they finish here tonight, they need to go down to the local gas station and buy them a damn lottery ticket because they got lucky as hell right there on that whole deal right there to be able to get up here and jump up here at the front with all the other guys. Chad Sullivan, he comes out of that right there eighth right here. So he's going to restart eighth on this restart with Kyle Holden ninth and Shane Davis. They round out the top 10. Then Crawford, Wortman, and Feder Place, all those guys just line up right behind them. So top 7, they in prime position. Like I said, I'd go and probably get the Mega Millions or the Powerball, however you want to look at it. If I was them, I'd be going and getting a lottery ticket after this race.
Yeah, and it's one thing to get that. It's another thing to make use of it. So we're going to see if Barry Sanders, Nick King, Jordan Schmeets, those guys can take advantage of that. But that's free track position. So we'll see what the cars have got going for them as we get ready to go green. And green flag is out. Stage number 2 underway.
Barry Sanders gets a fantastic jump. I mean, he just straight up gets gone right there on the outside up there, the number 10, Warren Young, trying to get up here and get him some of Schmeets. Schmeets trying to keep it down on the bottom. Sanders going down to the bottom. He may have jumped the restart right there, Eddie. I think that's exactly where he's going. He's going straight down pit road. Barry Sanders may have jumped the start.
Wow, unreal. What a development there. I thought he was the leader. How in the world did he jump the restart?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think what it was, I mean, I'm sitting right here and I'm going back and looking at it, and I mean, it blows my mind because he went in the restart zone. Now, maybe he was over a certain speed, I guess you could say, Eddie, because you got to keep a certain speed to be able to keep everybody at pace and make it fair for everybody. That way you're not jacking the pace speed up or anything like that. So maybe that's what it was. But he went in, had to serve a stop-and-go penalty, and now Barry Sanders maybe does not need to go get that lottery ticket now because he's going to come out way down there around 34th, the last driver on the lead lap. He's just now coming off of pit road. So we got a little battle going on up here for the lead. Jordan Schmeets is going to slide around Nick King. And now Schmeets, he's going to take it all the way to the top, and he is going to lead here at Gateway.
Yeah, Jordan Schmeets started way back in 33rd, took that advantage and got up front, but look who's coming. The 21 ain't wasting no time. He is showing why he's been leading this race, and he's been dominant all race long. He's got 2 wins in the bag, and he is on the hunt already. Up to 3rd after that restart, and he is continuing to move forward as he continues to push. He's about a 10th faster, 10th and a half faster than the leader the last time by. So it looks like Chad Sullivan's got a little bit extra there that these other guys don't.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They end up wanting to see how that bad boy goes through tech later on after the race. But Chad Sullivan right up on the back bumper of Nick King. King trying to hold on to second. I mean, King, great strategy for him. Hell, he started 18th. He's all the way up here in the second position. We talked about Schmeets starting in the 33rd spot. He's all the way up here at the lead. Sullivan took a shot down on the inside, but nothing was there. He could have dove it in there, but he probably would have ended up maybe getting a little door
banging right here.
But here's your run. Sullivan set him up, going down the backstretch. Chad Sullivan, he is going to go to second with ease right here. As now King is going to slide back into that third spot, and King had to get out of the gas. Hell, he almost ran him over coming in through the middle of 3 and 4. But Sullivan, he has got clear. He's got second. Jordan Schmeets, he better hit the damn nitrous button because Chad Sullivan's starting to reel him in.
Yeah, that was a perfectly executed pass. Didn't try to pass on entry. Got the run off the exit. Got side by side. That way he had the advantage into the corner, and he had enough room there. He could have done a slide job if he needed to slide up in front of Nick King, and he didn't even need to do that. And, man, look at him driving down into the corner. He has got that thing rolling right now. Jordan Schmeeds. Oh, caution is out, though. Caution's out. Dean Motley spun out on the backstretch. It looks like just a solo spin. And caution is back out. Let's take a look.
Absolutely, Eddie. I mean, that's exactly what it was right there. I mean, he just gets a little bit loose coming off of turn 2. That transition coming off of 2 and on the backstretch, it's rough. I mean, it really is. If this track wasn't already hard enough, the transitions from turn 2 to the backstretch is very, very crazy. You're going to see it right there. I mean, the car just gets a little bit light back in, starts to come around, and then once he hits the grass, I mean, basically, you're just along for the ride. And good drive by him. You know, that being for Dean Motley right there, just to lock it down right there, because, Eddie, I've seen a lot of guys right there in that particular situation just try to gas it up and maybe try to see if they can straighten it out, and then they end up, you know, the tires end up catching, and then they go head on into the wall. So good drive right there by Motley to be smart about the situation that he's in and just lock it down and not just drive it straight in the wall. Because like I said, I've seen that done numerous times where guys just gas it up and then they just hit the wall.
Yeah, and that might be a byproduct there of that shifting that we got going on, guys running third and fourth, and you get down there and it's tough. You got to get it when you have a track where you shift like that. It's just the car handles different than probably what you're used to, and you get on the gas and it's going to break loose sooner when you're able to hit those higher RPMs and those lower gears, or higher gears, I guess, and that's exactly what happened. Gets on the gas and it starts to come around, and these next gen cars just do not respond well to counter steer. You really have to think about it and do a little lift off the exit of the corner to keep the tires from spinning out, coming out from under you. So it just seems like he got on it, and once you start to spin, it gets loose. These next gens they don't give you any notice. You don't really know until it's just too late, and you said it perfectly. He did a great job of making sure that he didn't cause any more damage to that car. Tires not going to be happy with him, but going to be in pretty good shape. Got a couple drivers that we need to highlight that have come down pit road and going to be, I think they're trying to get some damage fixed. Randy Mullins, Matt Cox, those are drivers who are up in the point standings. Matt Cox second, Randy Mullins in third in the points. Those drivers coming down to get damage fixed. I'm thinking even they were on pit road for about 55 seconds. So lots of drivers, no fast repair in this series. So if you get a little bit of damage, you got to go down and get as much of that fixed as you can. And you want to get all that done before the end of stage number 2, because you do not want to be trying to give up track position at the end of that stage. So we'll see what these guys do. They may try a little stage flip or something like that, Jake, because that's already kind of worked for some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see that one bit. You know, you talked about Matt Cox coming down and trying to get some of that damage fixed. There is a possibility that he's still got a good bit of damage from the little bit of incident that he had with Jeffrey Taylor earlier on when they when they both basically collected one another and they end up hitting the backstretch wall. So, you know, very good possibility on that as to why Cox is going down. Mullins, there's, you know, probably some damage that I'm not even sure about as to why he's going down right there, because it looked like Mullins has basically kept his car clean throughout the race. But, you know, you never know. I mean, some of these guys may end up doing something kind of crazy to where they just go down and just top off. And and that's a possibility to where they just want to go down, top off, and just make sure that they got as much fuel in the car as they possibly can to maybe try to stretch it. Because, Eddie, you think about this, for some of the NASCAR fans, shout out to all 23 of you out there in the live chat. Think about it like this. Think about what happened last Sunday. Ryan Blaney run out of gas with 1 lap to go. Some of these drivers may be thinking the same thing that Ryan Blaney was thinking about, and they want to make sure that they've got enough of fuel to to be able to make it all the way to the end of this race.
Well, we are doubled up, getting ready to go green. Lap 50 of 160, so we still got 110 laps to go in this thing, and just under 30 laps for this stage. So Chad Sullivan is going to be inside of row number 1. Jordan Schmeets will choose the outside and have that outside advantage, as he's going to get likely a pretty good restart. Now, we saw Shane Davis get real loose on that outside, so you're going to have to be careful. But Chad, he's looking bad fast at the moment, so I think I'm expecting him to get this lead pretty quickly and try to get 2 stage wins. Pace car going to pull off into the Geico restart zone. And I don't know what I thought was going to happen there, but boy, it stacked up real bad on the outside. I think everybody able to get through without much issue. But up front, Chad Sullivan was able to take the lead, and he is out front, and boy, that's bad for the competition.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone right now. I mean, and Smeets back here trying to battle with Nick King. How about this right here? How about Aaron Matthews? Haven't talked a lot about him this race. Apparently sitting in right now in that 4th position. He's got Davis right behind him. Aaron Matthews, folks, in that number 5 car, he started in the 30th spot. Hell, he was back there where Jordan Schmeets was at the start of this race. You see King trying to jump down, maybe trying to block a little advance right there, knowing that Davis is a little bit faster back there than that number 79. But Nick King, he's got the opportunity to be up here inside the top 5. He wants to try to keep it going. And guess what? Davis says, you know what? You want to keep the bottom? That's fine. I'm going to take it around the top side. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Is Chad Sullivan in the 21 going down pit road. What is going on? I got a feeling these guys may end up jumping restarts. Or maybe not trying to stay with the pit speed. But Chad Sullivan going down pit road back.
Yeah, I think that one for sure, because Jordan Schmeets was definitely the control car there, and I don't think Jordan got the power down, and because of that, Chad is going to get a stop and go penalty, just like Barry Sanders. So these restart penalties, I mean, I think that just highlights what we've been talking about already, which is how important these restarts in the track position is. Every position you can get on these restarts is so important. How difficult it is to pass. You can see the links these guys are going to try to make that happen. And I'll tell you, right before that happened, Shane Davis was fighting demons, trying to decide if he wanted to go 3 wide there between Aaron Matthews and Nick King. He looked in there and saw that gap, and he gassed it up, and I saw him lift as he was coming off the corner. He was really struggling to make that decision. It is so hard when you know you got a fast car and you want to get up towards the front. Now, I think he can have a little bit more patience. Now, the guy he was chasing is now going down pit road. So I think Shane Davis is sort of in the catbird seat in that 3rd position. He is the first driver on the freshest tires, as these 2 up front were the ones who flipped the stage. So Shane was the 2nd fastest driver. He was actually running down Chad Sullivan at the end of that first run. So I think right now Shane Davis is the man to beat, as that 79 beast mode is trying to run down Aaron Matthews here. Oh, we got somebody going. Warren Young down to the inside. Holy
no
moly.
caution yet, though, Eddie. No caution yet, as they are going to try to keep it straight as they can. Warren Young in the number 10 gets sideways coming off of turn number 2, slides it through the grass, and jumps that number 10 Apex car back up on the track. We'll check it out again on the instant replay. Yeah, I mean, he just loses it right there.
What a save, though, huh?
Right there. Yeah, hell of a save, because that inside wall was coming out towards him. He could have straight up ended up slapping that wall big time right there. Look at the wheel control. Sonny's driving that thing like it's a damn dirt late model. Check it out. Warren Young coming off of 2. Keeps it to the right, tries to get it back, sees the grass, sees the wall, goes, oh my God, don't hit the wall, and gets it straight back out in the grass and just tries to feather it right here. Try to get it back out on the track, but we got some change for position up here. Shane Davis, he's got around Aaron Matthews, and here comes the man that I was talking about earlier, Blaze Crawford in that 15, subbing for Alex Coffey, who got suspended last week. Crawford up here, he is starting to reel in Shane Davis, so that whole deal with Chad Sullivan right there on that restart, I mean, he just completely changed the game right here, Eddie, honestly. So Crawford up here, he's got a shot to stay with Davis, but let's not count out Jordan Schmeets, because he's doing a fantastic job trying to hold him off right here.
Yeah, Well, I mean, saw in that first stage, Blaze really put the pressure on his tires and burned them up. Was actually falling, free falling through the field before that caution. Was actually a part of the reason of that big wreck between Jeffrey Taylor and Matt Cox, as they were all having to check up there. And so I wonder what he learned. As I think Matthew Campbell has had some sort of issue going down pit road, or I know he's just slow on the track. We stay here, though, as we're still green. As here comes Shane Davis down to the inside. We'll see if he can make this work. Jordan Schmitz missing a little bit of that advantage of the tires. He's going to lose second and might lose third. But talking about Blaze, I mean, he burned the tires up early, fell through the field. So you wonder if he learned anything after he went down pit road, checked his tires, and said, okay, I need to do this better. Talk to your teammates and see what he can do differently. Because Shane was actually one of the fastest drivers on the track, if not the fastest, at the end of that longer run. So we're going to see who has made the right adjustments. Blaze was really fast. Well, he's going to have to really work on that long run speed to keep up with Shane Davis. But both of them able to get clear now. So the guys who have come down pit road and didn't flip the stage are now back out front.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you expected, honestly, right there, Eddie. You know, and some of these guys back here, you know, you talk about Jordan Schmitz rather, and Aaron Matthews. Like I talked about, both of them starting 30th or worse, basically in the field. That's where they started at. Both of them didn't even qualify. Not sure if they had a penalty from the week before. But still, I mean, you know, they got to try to throw some kind of strategy, try to get themselves up here, get themselves on TV, and get themselves in the fight for a top 5 or hell, even a win at this point. So, I mean, you got to applaud their strategy on it, but you knew that the guys that flipped the stage was going to eventually end up getting passed by some of the guys that obviously qualified up front and have been running up front the majority of this race. But I will say this. Jordan and Andrew, they are holding their own up here in front of Kyle Holden and Nick King right now. I just think it's honestly, I think what it is Shane Davis and Blaze Crawford, they're just that damn good right now. Because I think that's exactly the whole deal right now. Schmitz and Matthews, they are holding their own right now inside this top 5.
Watching on board with Kyle Holden as he tries to get around these two drivers, been patiently waiting as you know, as we're going to watch this battle, I'm going to go up front, is these two are getting wild with it. You think that they would kind of calm down, take it easy for the second stage, especially running 1-2, but you can see Shane Davis trying to break the draft of Blaze Crawford, and Blaze has closed up every single lap, just a tiny bit faster the last lap, and we'll see as he comes across the line here what he's able to do. He's right there with him. We'll see if he can try to make a pass on him, maybe try to get this stage 2 win. But how much is he burning his tires up? As I tell you what, Shane Davis actually 4-wheel slides it into the entry of 1 there, and man, almost lost the lead, and Blaze had to kind of check up, and no, caution is out.
Absolutely, we got a caution on the speedway there. You see a driver around the 93 of Ryan Huff ends up going into the turn, which is going to be kind of interesting because usually we end up seeing them getting spun around coming off the corner. I got a feeling right here we may end up having a little bit of beef with some of these drivers right here. Yes, that is exactly what it was. He gets tagged right there in the left rear by Paul Whitley. Whitley tries to send it down on the bottom side. I mean, that's tough right there because Huff, I mean, he was up on the top side. Nah, Huff was actually coming down. Huff comes down. You'll see it right here on the instant replay. Huff actually got up into the fence before they even got to start finish line. Huff just tries to send it down there. Whitley down on the bottom side. I mean, just innocent bystander out of all that. But
it kind of looked like Ryan just didn't know that Whitley was there, because the way he was entering that corner, he was trying to maybe get back to the back bumper, or was trying to let the other driver go and try to sneak in front of him. Didn't want to give up 2 spots, but was happy to give up that 1. It's really hard to tell there, but it almost looked like he just didn't even understand that somebody was there. So, yeah, unfortunate there, but we have our 3rd caution of the night, and we've got some takers on pit road. Aaron Matthews, Nick King, all those drivers coming down pit road. Tim Wortman Jr. going to bring that 83 down. So lots of guys coming down to take a set of tires, and that's going to continue to, I mean, this has sort of been a strategy race so far. In real life, it was fuel strategy, but this has been sort of tire strategy race through this first couple stages. So we're going to see for a couple drivers, like the stage one winner, um, Chad Sullivan, that's going to be good for him. He's going to get to come down, get some tires, get caught back up. He's going to be back the back half of the top 20, but he is going to get caught back up and have some chances to get back up towards the front. But yeah, different tire strategies here. Matt Cox, who took 2 tires, so he's going to win that battle off. But Aaron Matthews, who was up there in the top 5, he's going to be back in 19th position with just 15 laps to go in the stage. I don't know. I don't know, Jake. I'm not sure I like that call. I'm going to be honest. Because you're going to run about 15 laps, and you're not like you can save that many. And then you're going to have to pit for the stage. So it seemed like you just kind of gave up track position there. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly what he did right there. Either that or, maybe he's thinking something different. But I mean, Eddie, every time I've been in these next gen cars, I mean, fresh tires, in my honest opinion, fresh tires is basically like toilet paper around COVID time. You wanted it as much. I mean, you was hoarding them damn things as much as you possibly could.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing right now. I mean, you're hoarding the freshest tires. You want the freshest tires out on the racetrack, especially in these next gen cars. But I mean, that call right there, I'm not 100% on that one right there. I mean, because it's like you said, you got 15 laps. I mean, Matthews was up there. I mean, hell, he was up in the top 5. So I'm kind of curious as to why he did that. Is he going to try to flip the stage or some kind of stuff like that? I mean, I'm not 100% why he would do that, because I can kind of see it to a certain extent. But I mean, if you're up there in the top 5, no, man, you don't pit. I mean, I don't know. That one's got me puzzled right there as well, Eddie.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna find out how it's gonna work. I mean, they're gonna have probably about 12 laps to make use of those tires. So we'll see. I mean, these guys up here have been out on the track for 27 laps on these, and we'll see how big of a difference it's gonna make. I said last week that that was a bad call, and hell, the guy drove up through the field and actually won stage 2 with that strategy. So we'll see if that plays out again as we get ready to move on into stage number 2. I want to get Chad Sullivan in here real quick and talk to him. Chad, you won stage 1. First off, congratulations. Then I think you had a jump start, and now you're back in 32nd position. Man, you got a bad, fast car. You still got plenty of time. How are you going to get that 21 car back up towards the front?
And just try to stay out of trouble and try to methodically move my way back to the front. I not used to the starter having the option and completely had a brain fart and forgot that I was not the leader.
Well, you got a fast piece. You definitely got plenty of time, so good luck out there, and appreciate you talking to us.
All right, thank you, sir.
Wanted to bring him up here. We'd like to talk to our stage winners. Hadn't had a chance just yet, and obviously wanted to hear his thoughts about that, and there you go. It just kind of had a brain fart, and that happens. Even to the best of us, man, I think I've been brain farting all night, so.
Oh, well, I mean, Eddie, you know me, buddy. I mean, me and you go way back. I've had my share of brain farts as well. But, I mean, it happens. I mean, nobody's perfect in this world except for the man upstairs. But here we go, baby. Getting ready for another restart.
Shane Davis going to have control of this start with Blaze Crawford there in second position. And this time, pretty good start for the whole field. We didn't have any major stack-ups. Everybody able to get the power down. That's a good restart there. We get to go back to racing. Blaze was really putting some pressure, but now Kyle Holden is behind him. He is on the same set of tires as these guys up front. So we'll see what Kyle Holden has to say about what's going to go on up here.
Yeah, we'll see what he's got to say about all this right here. Obviously, Kyle Holden able to slide around Jordan Smeets, get up here in that third spot. You see him right there working that wheel, trying to make sure that he can keep it straight. Obviously, a lot of guys getting loose off of some of these turns, especially really off of 2. Haven't seen a whole lot of people get crazy off of 3 and 4. But you check it out right there. I mean, he sees the battle brewing up here at the front. Blaze Crawford all over the back bumper. Shane Davis, he's going to have to hit the loud pedal, son. He's got to hit it quick because Crawford is breathing down his neck. And now Kyle Holden, he's jumped up here. He's going to start trying to breathe down Crawford's neck. And right behind him, Jordan Smeets, he's up here just trying to capitalize on anything crazy that happens. As now Crawford just still trying to inch up there. Getting right here about that point. 11 laps to go here in stage number 2. Shout out there in the live chat. Who's going to win stage 2? Hell, who's going to win the race? Shout it out there in the live chat so we can interact with you later on. But Davis trying to hold on to that lead. Crawford putting on a lot of pressure right now.
Yeah, these three have kind of broken away a little bit as Jordan Smeet's trying to hang on. Jordan did run a pretty fast lap time last time by, but these three are definitely in their own little zone. Now, what I am seeing is Blaze Crawford kind of getting out of shape a little bit. Every single lap I see him kind of wiggling off the exit, so that tells me he's putting the power down in that third or fourth gear and getting a little bit loose on exit, which will come back to bite you quickly. Good news for him, there's only 9 laps to go, so you better get all you can get and try to go get this stage win. Oh, somebody is wrecking in the back. Up against the wall. And I think it's Tucker Rhodes in the 20 car. Gets loose above the corner. We've seen it 100 times, it seems like, Jake, and it bites somebody again.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Eddie, same song, same dance right here. Same old song and dance. Coming off of turn 2, you're riding on board with Tucker Rhodes in the number 20. And you're just going to see him right here. I mean, there it is. I mean, the wheel just kind of snaps out from under him. This time, he doesn't do it like the other guys did. I mean, he tried to gas it up and tried to keep going right there. And it come back to bite him right there, and he goes head on into the wall. I mean, you know, we saw the same thing happen with Dean Motley earlier, and you know, he slammed on the brakes. If he wouldn't, you know, if he wouldn't have slammed on the brakes, he'd have went head on into the wall. That right there, Tucker Rhodes, he may end up trying to take a little bit of a, or I guess you could say a lesson, I guess you could say, from Motley, because Motley, he's able to save the car. Tucker Rhodes, he's got some serious damage. Now he's coming in and getting 4 fresh tires and going to try to fix the damage on that race car.
Yeah, I think he's having some issues with his pit crew because I think that little overcorrect into the wall was to give them something to fix. I think he thought they were being a little bit lazy, not really doing their job. They're kind of showing up lazy, kind of sleepy, not getting enough sleep at night. And I think he said, you know what, I'm gonna give you guys something to hammer out in this race. And so he knocks some fenders in. He's gonna come out trying to beat the pace car, but actually misses the pace car, and so he will actually have to go all the way to the back. So couldn't quite make it out in front of the pace car. That's big. So it's going from bad to worse now for Tucker Rhodes.
Yeah, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth right there, Eddie. I mean, that's not what you wanted to see right there if you were a Tucker Rhodes fan here this evening. I mean, Tucker was running right there inside the top 20. Matter of fact, he was running 20th, right on the money when that incident occurred. And so he goes from 20th on the lead lap to being back there in the 33rd spot, 1 lap down. And still having to come in. He's coming in right now to try to get some more damage fixed. And another thing about this, Blaze Crawford, he's up here blinking up here in that 2nd spot. This has got to make some of them drivers a little bit nervous. Eddie, I know you've been in the same situation I've been in a couple of times with blinking drivers up there. That's got to really make Kyle Holden, Jordan Smeets, Blaine Wilson up there, got to make them feel a little bit crazy. And even Shane Davis, because he's going to be door-to-door with him right here on this restart. If we're able to get it before the end of the stage, which I think we will, but it's got to make these drivers feel very, very uncomfortable to see somebody blinking up there around them when we're battling for a stage win.
Yeah, and we talk about blinking quite a bit, and blinking could be a couple different factors. Somebody blinks out like that when they're having internet issues, and also could be tonight. I mean, this amount of drivers in a field, especially under caution, you'll see guys blink out a lot because it's actually overloading their computer to the point where it's causing them to blink out. So that could be part of it too, because he it just started, and it's actually cleared up now. But yeah, it's really hard to say what the issue is, and guys will tell you. I'll tell you what. iRacers will let you know if you're blinking. There won't be no doubt about it in your mind, because as soon as you start blinking, there'll be about 3 or 4. Hey, guy, hey, 15, you're blinking. Don't know if you know that, but you're blinking. They're wanting them, hey, can you get them off the track? They're doing everything they can to get them out of the way, because it can be nerve-wracking. You get in there and get, kind of connected with a car that's blinking. Net code kind of goes all over the place. It can cause some pretty gnarly wrecks. So hopefully that does clear up, because Blaze has been running really good in this 2nd stage, and I think he's got an opportunity to get this win. So it looks like it's starting to kind of ease up now, so that's probably good for him.
Absolutely. I mean, and Blaze really trying to do everything that he can. Mentioned it earlier with Alex Coffey out and Blaze Crawford in, subbing for him here this evening here at Gateway for the Moonshiners Racing League. And Crawford up here, he's going to be on the outside. You got Davis on the bottom. You got Kyle Holden right behind him with Jordan Smeeds, who has basically held on as long as he can up there in that 30, started 33rd, sitting up there in the 4th spot. As there you see Tucker Rhodes coming back off pit road. He's going to end up going another lap down, I believe, to the field right here, so he wasn't able to get out and get that damage fixed. This is going to be a crazy restart. We was talking about the points, talking about the stage points, all that crazy stuff right here. This could be one of the more crazier restarts that we see all night long right here, knowing that stage points happen. And Eddie, remember what happened last time, give or taking this situation in stage 1. We end up seeing somebody on the outside on those old tires, spinning the tires, and we saw a hell of a wreck on the front stretch.
Well, hoping for a clean restart as they go into the restart zone. Shane Davis going to have control of that start, and he gets the power down, and it looks like Blaze Crawford does a pretty good job as well. No big stack ups, but Shane's going to take over that spot, and Kyle Holden going to try to get down to the inside, but Blaze covers it into turn 1. And those 3 drivers get away as, man, the 15's going to get a nice run through the middle of 1 and 2. Oh, they got a driver. The 3 of Hunter Carmichael gets into the wall. Everybody able to avoid him, but here it comes. Blaze Crawford down to the inside, and he is going to try to make that move. And look at Kyle Holden trying to take it maybe 3 wide as they go through 3 and 4.
A little bit of door banging right there between Crawford and Davis.
Oh!
Now Crawford gets loose, and now 3 wide for the lead. Holden down on the bottom. Crawford's going to end up going back to the 4th spot. Kyle Holden sends it down on the inside. Basically gets a gift right here at the front with Crawford end up almost spinning out. Davis is going to try to send it and maybe try to get back as we got cars around back in the back. Hunter Carmichael going around once again. Caution out.
He saved it. Caution did come out, but wow, those 2 got together, and Carmichael was able to get the car straightened back up. What a wild save there. Carmichael had a really tough couple laps. We'll take a look at that real quick as we've already kind of missed it here, but my goodness, that was wild. And obviously he slid those rears the lap before, so those things are not happy with him, and he's going to go down in this corner and just gas it up here and watch this.
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy half a lap, if you want to put it that way, from Crawford getting loose, coming off a 4, and there you see Hunter Carmichael. Great save. I mean, Gallimore, I think maybe Gallimore had a little bit of contact in that as well with Carmichael going around, as you see Gallimore right behind it. Yeah, I mean, Carmichael had already got loose. Gallimore was throttled up, and he was trying to go as well. Matter of fact, Gallimore had a guy that was trying to send it on the inside at the same time. But Carmichael got loose. Gallimore, there's nothing that he can do. He's already there. And Carmichael just gets loose, comes down into Gallimore. And Gallimore's night basically going from bad to worse, because if you remember correctly, when Davis spun the tires earlier in the 1st stage, who's the first guy that ended up getting out of that? It was Gallimore. He was the one that got the short end of the stick out of all of it. So now his night's going from bad to worse already.
Well, that should be the stage, it looks like. So Kyle Holden will win stage number 2. So congratulations to him. We'll get him up here in just a second once his pit stop is done and talk to him about that wild lap there that before that caution came out. As, man, he was able to kind of watch and keep his eyeballs on the front 2 and able to take advantage of it. So he'll come off a pit road. Got some guys staying out. So I'm not sure if there's some confusion as far as the stage break or not. Some of these drivers, Brandon Bikey, Paul Whitley, Sean Kaltenbach, have they came down about 6 laps ago, so we got some more stage flippers. Before we get too far into this, let's bring Kyle Holden up into the booth. And Jake, what you got for Kyle Holden?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Holden, hell of a send right there, buddy. I mean, you just straight up sent it in there. I mean, kind of looked like you got a gift right there. With Crawford kind of getting loose, you was able to slide by him. I mean, tell us about your, your thought process trying to go for the lead right there.
Yeah, we didn't get the greatest of restarts. We weren't able to keep with Shane there, but we were kind of able to roll through turn 1 with 3rd gear there and get pretty close to him. They started banging doors through the corner there, and that just kind of allowed us to be there. And Blaze just ended up lighting up the tires a little bit, allowed us to get 3 wide there, and because they were banging doors, we just had a better run out of the corner that allowed us to get down into turn 1 and take that lead over.
And Kyle, you know, coming back right here on this restart, what's going to be the key to be able to try to get yourself back up front, get that 59 up front, and get a win here at Gateway? What's going to be the key for the rest of this race?
It's first, kind of get around some of the guys who are on some older tires, but you're definitely going to want to try to save if we try to get some green flag runs in here. But if you start to see cautions roll out, I think we're just going to all kind of run balls to the wall.
Balls to the wall, baby. That's the way we love it right there. Kyle Holden wins stage number 2. Kyle, appreciate your time and good luck the rest of the race. And that's how, I mean, Eddie, that's the way that we love it right there, baby. Balls to the walls. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'll take it however I can get it. And we're just over halfway, so all that we just did, we're going to have to do it again. But the difference this time is not going to be any stages. So I like what he said to begin with, which is you got to save tire here. You can't risk you can't risk pushing too early. If you're Kyle, if you're Shane Davis, those guys, Blaze, you've got to consider that, yeah, I would love to get through these older tires, but I've got the freshest tires. So I'm going to get through them eventually. I just need to take my time because we may go a full fuel run, which we haven't done yet, Jake. And, you said about 65, 70 laps on fuel. That's double what these guys have run on tires. So if you're not thinking of saving tires at this point, I'm not sure. I think you're going to have to. I think you're going to have to be thinking about that first. As this could be a long run if you burn them up. We saw Blaze burn them up early. I know he's probably thinking about that stage 1 and trying to keep that from happening.
Yeah, I mean, in Crawford, I mean, he's done a fantastic job currently sitting right now in the 10th spot. Still got a shot, to close this thing out. I mean, hell, any of these guys all the way back to the 32nd spot, which would find John Binder back there in that 32nd spot just coming off of pit road. But any of these guys, literally any of them still running, still has a shot to win this thing, Eddie. So here we go, baby. We're getting ready for another restart and the final stage here at Gateway.
Cold tires, something to be thinking about if you're up front on these older tires. You don't want to spin them. Caden Norfrey gets a pretty good jump there. We'll see if everybody's able to avoid any penalties, which have kind of plagued the front row. Looks like everybody able to get by pretty clear. Now, Brandon Bikey is somebody we haven't talked much about just yet. He was moving his way into the top 10, fell all the way back, but this time flipped the stage to get up front. He is a 2-time winner, and he is back up front. Somebody we haven't talked much about yet. He actually pushes the 17 of Christensen up into the outside wall, and now they're going to be 3 wide for second place. Wow, look at that. You said balls to the wall. That's exactly what happened here. Man, Brandon Bikey being aggressive, saying, excuse me, give him the ludicrous move, get out of the way.
Absolutely. Move, get out of the way is exactly what Bikey said. He's going to send it all the way to the 2nd spot. He's got Aaron Matthews right behind him, Nigel Christensen sitting there in that number 17. I got a feeling he's going to remember that one right there, as now you see a couple of drivers back here. Kyle Holden now, he's going to jump up here and maybe try to get around the 5 of Aaron Matthews and try to jump himself up there in that top 3. Keep in mind, stage 2 winner is Kyle Holden trying to jump up here and take back the lead of this race. He's been up at the front all race long. So right now, the favorites is, wow, Norfrey gets loose. No caution yet on the speedway, but the leader, Caden Norfrey, ends up getting loose off of turn 2.
Oh, oh my goodness, success. It's such a hard thing to deal with. He gets out front, and now he's going to fall all the way back, almost to 30th as he gets loose, and that's going to give the lead over to Brandon Bikey. And, man, he knew he had to go. He was trying to be as aggressive as possible, gets a little bit loose, and we've seen that a bunch of times. And now Brandon Bikey going to be at a disadvantage. I think Kyle Holden is in such a good spot. He has got plenty of time to get around Brandon. Now, Brandon, not going to be easy to pass at all, I can tell you. He's a very, very good driver. He's got 2 wins on the season and trying to go for number 3, but I just don't know if he can hold off these new tires.
Yeah, I mean, and, there you see Holden really trying to get the run coming off of turn 4, looking pretty good. He's going to dive it down to the inside. Bikey is going to let him go. So take the lead up to Kyle Holden. but Mikey gonna try to keep it right glued on his back bumper. Holden slides up a little bit. Mikey got a little bit loose coming off of 2. Aaron Matthews not too far back, sitting in the 3rd spot with Crawford. Blaze Crawford, talked about him a minute ago. He's worked his way all the way up to the 4th position. He's got around Nigel Christensen, and Christensen in a little bit of a battle right now with Paul Whitley back there trying to get going. There you see riding on board with Crawford. Crawford gets the run off of 4. He's going to try to get down to the inside of Aaron Matthews. Great drive by Matthews. Started 30th and is up to 3rd. And Brandon Bikey, how about this? He started back there in the 29th spot, the last driver to take a time. And he is sitting up here in that 2nd spot, but he better watch out. He's got a hungry man right behind him being Blaze Crawford.
Yeah, these 2 up front, Kyle Holden, I think we got a big wreck in the back. No caution as I think Andrew Niedert actually just kind of exits out. But he had gone off track and made a little contact, but we stayed green. But yeah, these 2 up front, Kyle Holden, Brandon Bikey, they both have 2 wins on the season. They definitely know how to get it done. And Blaze Crawford coming in as a sub. You know, it's always tough to come in and sub for another driver in a series. You see Matt Cox gets loose back there. To come up here and race these guys that are going to be racing for a championship, to come in and sub and race cleanly. But if you're subbing in, you've only got one opportunity to go out there and get a win. You're trophy hunting. So I think that's what Blaze is doing right now. We'll see if he's got the long run speed. That's the question that I have for Blaze at the moment. Can he make it a full fuel run if he needs to?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see right there for Crawford. I mean, he's right up on the back bumper of Bikey, trying to see if he can get that 2nd spot. Top 3 guys look like they're going to try to separate themselves from 4th place driver Matthews. That's Sean Rogers. Talked about him a little bit earlier on in the race. He's up here in the 5th spot. He started 16th. A lot of big movers right now in the field with Paul Whitley up here. Started 19th. He's all the way up to 6th. How about Sean Kaltenbach back here as well? Started 32nd. He's up to 8th as well. But there you see Blaze Crawford got the virtual cab going on right now. Looking calm, cool, and collected. Got a whole lot of boxes back there in the background as well. Maybe doing a little bit of moving, I guess.
I think he's racing. He's racing out of a UPS warehouse, I believe. That's what he's doing.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, and he's laughing about it. And I'll say this: I mean, if he's got that many boxes and he's moving, son, he's moving through the damn field because he's coming up right here on the back bumper of Mikey. Mikey better watch his back door because Crawford's trying to go for 2nd.
Yeah, I think when he gets done with this race, he's got to load a UPS truck for tomorrow morning. So I think he's got a little late race racing. So, hey, but it's cool. That's why we love these driver webcams. He's gonna get loose. He's laughing. He's paying attention to the broadcast.
Take you a drink, baby. Take you a drink.
But yeah, I think it's really cool. I love to see these looks behind the scenes with these drivers and see what they got going on. It's cool. A lot of guys will try some stuff. There's a guy, Brayton Laster, I believe is his name, the pizza man. He's got all kinds of stuff he puts behind his webcam. So it's always fun when guys take it seriously and really show how intense they are. But it's also cool to see guys who maybe don't take it as serious, can have a good time, and also maybe throw something funny in the background we can laugh at. So it's always cool to be able to see what goes on behind the scenes. Now, you talked about Sean Rogers. He is trying to put pressure here on Aaron Matthews. About 10 lap fresher tires, 7 has on Aaron, and he is putting some pressure on him right now and trying to get up into that top 4 and keep tabs with Blaze and Brandon and Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a fantastic job right now trying to find a way around Matthews. Obviously, sliding up the racetrack. We've seen a lot of guys do a lot of different things. As you see, Rogers was able to slide up like he was doing to try to get the run coming off of 2. That's exactly what you need to do, and that's exactly what Rogers does. Is he's going to slide in that 4th spot. Matthews maybe not thinking too nicely about that. Gives him a little bumper tag. A little how do you do to Sean Rogers. But Rogers able to get away. Matthews, he's going to slide back into the 5th position. And Paul Whitley not too far back. As you see him back there in the 74. But Sean Rogers doing a fantastic job. Like I said, starting the 16th spot. Has worked his way up here into the 4th spot. But here we go. The UPS man right here, Blaze Crawford. trying to look down to the inside of Brandon Bikey. And we already saw what happened. I mean, you know, Holden was able to get the run on Bikey and be able to dive it down to the inside. Bikey just said, you know what, go ahead. Just go ahead and take it and get on gone. Crawford, he's a little bit different right here. Crawford's got to try to get the run and try to, like you said, get that power down on the back tires. Try not to get as loose as he can. At least is what he's been getting coming off of the corners. So he's got to try to keep that car as straight as he possibly can. He gets a little bit loose off of 2, and Bikey's able to pull away. So Crawford's got to be able to get some stability under that race car.
You know, when Sean Rogers went around Aaron Matthews and Matthews gave him a little bump, that's what I wish I could do on the interstate sometimes. I wish I could just, somebody cuts me off and you know, puts me in a bad spot. I wish I could go up there and just give them a little shove. So I wish I could do that in real life.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, and then also, not to cut you off, but also, you want to try to give them the virtual fingers sometimes, especially if they end up cutting you off as well. So, I mean, you run into a lot of crazy things, but, you know, I got to say this, Eddie, I mean, because you talked about it with the virtual cams, to be able to, get the behind-the-scenes deal. I mean, that's something that you don't get in real racing. That's something that you get in sim racing because everybody gets to show their true colors, a lifestyle outside of the sim rig, and you're able to show that on a virtual cam, especially while you're out here running virtually 150 miles an hour. So it's awesome to see those cameras, and shout out to each and every one of the drivers. I know, Holden's got one, Crawford. Matter of fact, there you go. Got them all right there with everybody with the virtual cams. Shout out to each and every one of you guys for inviting us into your homes, especially while you're going out here and running 160 laps here in Gateway tonight.
Yeah, it's always appreciative. It adds to the broadcast for sure. And, my favorite thing is you're able to see the emotion. You know, when guys cross the start-finish line and they have that webcam, you see them fist pumping or slamming their desk, and vice versa when they have issues and something doesn't go correctly or their way, and you see the frustration. We saw that with Jeffrey earlier in the race when he had his incident, and you could see that frustration, and that emotion is awesome to see, especially for a broadcast. Being able to see, these guys care about this stuff, man. This is important to them. It's their hobby. It's what they do. This, it's not life or death, but hey, we show up every week to race, and you put a lot of time in working on these setups and practice and all that. You want to go up here and have a good time, and when things don't go your way, you get very, very frustrated. And I'll tell you what, Blaze might be getting frustrated at the moment trying to get around Brandon Bikey here. Just not been able to do it at this point. Bikey, with those older tires, has done a great job of holding this 15 off. And the 15 now going to be dealing with Sean Rogers pretty soon. But tire's going to start to fade here in just a few laps. Can Blaze hold on to it? And, Kyle Holden has really pulled away. So you start to see Blaze get that little bit of loose condition off the corner, pushing those tires a little bit too hard.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing what he can right here just to try to put the pressure on Bikey. And now this little bit of a, I guess you could say, a little bit of a roadblock, I guess you could say, right here with Bikey. It's entered Sean Rogers into that conversation. We see some smoke right here on the backstretch. Maybe a driver going around maybe got loose. We see a lot of guys way back there coming off of turn 2. Guys just getting loose coming off of turn 2. We haven't seen a whole lot of that, as I mentioned earlier. Eddie, with guys doing it coming off of turn 4. It's really been off of turn 2, but just because of that transition, the banking coming off of 2, coming onto a flat back stretch that it has here at Gateway. So it's like I said,
it's like that tight. It's a tight corner. I think that tight radius that we've talked about. We can actually bring that up again to kind of highlight that in 1 and 2 there. You see that tight radius, and they're shifting down to third. In third gear, these cars are designed to run in 4th or 5th. They're not designed to run in third. Third is just to get up through the gears, come off pit road on a restart, get into third. It's not, you don't really want to hit third as a driving gear, but whenever it's bogged down like this, you kind of have to play around with it. And third is just such a tough gear on the rear tires that I think that's catching a lot of guys off of 2 there that they're just not prepared for. And we've already highlighted, if you light them up one time, we saw Hunter Carmichael have that issue. It is 5 or 6 laps of just tough driving, trying to cool those tires down, and it can be pretty frustrating. So yeah, turn 2 has been a really nasty spot.
Yeah, you talked about it, those 5 or 10 laps, what I like to call baby in it. You just trying to pedal it, just trying to make sure that you can try to cool those tires off as much as you possibly can. But we're sliding back here, seeing a little bit of battling going on back here. That's Chad Sullivan. We talked about him with that unfortunate penalty that he had earlier on in the race. He's still trying to claw his way back up here, try to get back into this battle. He's currently sitting in the 15th spot. Matter of fact, right behind Hunter Carmichael and Paul Gallimora. Both of those drivers, they've already had their issues here this evening as well. So 3 drivers right here inside the top 15 that have had issues. Different times in this race have found one another out here on the racetrack. As a matter of fact, right in front of him, you got Jordan Smeets. He's still doing pretty good, starting 33rd, and he's all the way sitting up there in 12th. You see Carmichael gonna take a shot up to the outside. Carmichael gets loose once again. Carmichael basically driving it like Ricky Carmichael, if you want to put it that way, on a dirt bike, trying to see if he can keep it straight. And right up there in front of him, you got a little battle going on as well. I believe that was Paul Whitley that was able to send it around. As now we're seeing right here, that's Barry Sanders going down the inside of Nigel Christensen. So Sanders trying to make a shot for Christensen, able to get the run on the outside. I mean, you talked about it. It's tough to try to keep it down on the bottom and try to make a pass. Up there on that top side, you just get so much damn momentum to where you can just be able to clear the guy that's trying to pass you on the inside.
Yeah, there's a couple drivers that I've got my eyeballs on that I'm watching as this run's going to continue to go on. One of them is Shane Davis in that 79, and we'll continue to watch this battle here. But you can see back there the 21 of Chad Sullivan now going to the inside of Paul Gallimore. So those 2 drivers I got my eyeballs on. Those were the 2 fastest early, and obviously they've had some issues, and it's not been a great second stage, middle part of the race. But this is the longest stage, and if we stay green, which I don't know may not happen as these 2 make contact, they're going to have a green flag stop here at some point. And so I'm very curious to see if Chad and Shane can get back up to the front. And man, look at Barry. This time going to go around to the outside. They make more contact. Jake, we got some racing going on right here. Here comes Jordan Schmeets. He's going to go 3 wide, and here comes Chad Sullivan.
Wow, Smeets able to send it. Sanders goes straight up into the wall, but he's able to pull a Ross Chastain move and stay with him. How about that, Eddie? Barry Sanders end up missing the corner after Smeets sent it 3 wide. All that door banging going on between Sanders and Christensen. Smeets was able to slide right through the middle and be able to jump up there and check it out. Chad Sullivan, he's able to slide around him as well. Gallimora trying to go with him as well and maybe try to get up there with Sanders. But Smeets, I'm telling you what, buddy, he made a hell of a move. He made a desperate move. Some would call that a crazy move if you want to put it that way. And then Barry Sanders, he just went Ross Chastain over there in turn 1. You see Sullivan getting a little loose off of 2 as well. I mean, that was a crazy sequence of events right there that happened all the way back from turn 4 and ended coming off of turn number 2.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. You can see these guys feeling like it's time to go. I don't have time to lift and let you get caught back up. We're going to go. We're going to keep our foot in it. And that's what happened right there. And Chad actually was a big beneficiary of that as he was able to gain 2 or 3 spots with really not having to try at all. So Chad's bid to get back up to the front, I still think he's doing really well. I mean, he's keeping pace with the leader on as far as lap time. So that car is definitely not gone away. He is going to be in position. And if we get a caution, he's definitely going to be as right now he's about 8.6 seconds off of your leader, Kyle Holden. Now, up front, we've been highlighting some really great battles. We're going to go back to that, but we'll let you know what's going on up front. Kyle Holden is still driving away. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of Brandon Bikey, but Bikey was able to hold off a hard charge from Blaze Crawford, and we've already talked about it with Blaze a couple times. He has burned those tires up. He's starting to fade. He lost the spot to Sean Rogers, is now 3 seconds back from Kyle Holden. So tires starting to fade here for Blaze.
Yeah, I mean, and this is when it's going to get real crucial. Obviously, they are inside that pit window to be able to make it on fuel. So here's going to be the question, especially for even Kyle Holden up there, who's got a pretty good gap right now at a second and a half. Matter of fact, Rogers starting to reel in Baiki right here, so we'll see how Rogers plays it when he gets to Baiki. Is Baiki actually going to get into the wall? So that's going to help Rogers out a whole lot more. But it's like I said, we're already in that fuel window. Everybody's going to be able to make it. It's going to be interesting to see what everybody ends up going down pit road. I was thinking that they need to just try to split it right down the middle and try to go in that route to be able to try to make it all the way to the end. But we'll see how that all plays out. We'll see when somebody, decides to duck in and tries to go in. It's going to be a very, very interesting final couple of laps right here as to how this strategy is going to play out for some of these drivers.
Yeah, I think pitting right now would definitely be a bad idea because that would be a long time on tires. And yeah, you would get that speed early, and when you get quite a bit of, of positions, if you're Sean Rogers, Blaze Crawford, maybe not the worst idea. You would gain a lot of positions, but you would be on defense for the rest of the race, and it would be a long haul to get to the end. And I think if you ran all the way, to where you're going to run the gas out, I mean, you're talking another 35 laps maybe for Kyle Holden. I don't know if that's going to make too much sense. It's not going to give you enough time to run down anybody who short pits. So it is definitely going to be one of those where you need to be flexible here during this green flag stop, and there's always the danger of that caution that's going to come out as well. So there is a lot to think about. This is not an easy call because these tires do make a difference. So we'll see what they decide to do. It's going to be interesting to see as Blaze Crawford gets a little bit of the apron and has to catch that thing all the way up the track off of turn 4. Going to lose a ton of time. But Shane Davis has gotten up to that 4th position. He is the fastest guy on the track at the moment. So Shane getting back up towards the front, and he has been able to keep pace, only 3.5 seconds back from the lead.
Well, I mean, Shane Davis, the only, I guess you could say, slip that he's had so far this race was when he spun the tires right there coming to the end of stage number 1. There you see right there, your pole sitter, Shane Davis. Other than that little slip, he's drove a fantastic race, currently sitting in 4th. Right, about 3.5 seconds back from Kyle Holden, so he's back there. He's got a little bit of work to do. Maybe needed to get a little bit of luck, I guess you could say. But doing what he needs to do as far as trying to be able to make sure that he can maximize his points day to the best of, what he's getting give to him. So he's doing a pretty good job. He's running some pretty good lap times. But I still think he's going to need a little bit of help to try to get up there and get a hold of Holden. He is fast, and he is faster than Holden. But like I said, he's going to need just a little bit of help.
Yeah, he's been one of the best long-run cars I've seen all night long. So if I'm Shane Davis, I'm going. He is consistently just as fast or faster than the leaders every single lap. So if I'm him, I'm going as long as I possibly can before I come down pit road, because that long-run advantage is definitely in his favor. So we'll see what strategy he employs there, but he has been really, really good. The longer we go, right now 37 laps on his tires, so we're getting right into his wheelhouse. But I'll tell you what, who's impressing me the most, which I'm not sure if he impresses me anymore if I expect it, but Brandon Bikey, he stayed out and got that track position. He has got, while some of them are caution laps, he's got about 6 laps older tires than everybody around him. And man, he is, last time by he was faster than Kyle Holden. So Brandon Bikey has got that car dialed in, even with these older tires, doing a great job of saving it and having a really, really good run here late in this little run here.
One thing that I've been sitting here watching with Brandon Bikey is he is very, very consistent at what he's doing. I'm not seeing him do anything crazy with the back end of the car. He's not getting loose, keeps it straight. Running with a VR, hell, that's a challenge in itself right there. But, he's doing a fantastic job keeping the car up under him and not doing anything crazy right here. Just trying to keep pace right now with Kyle Holden, which, like you talked about, Holden might get him 1 lap. Mikey may end up getting the next lap. It just depends on, the circumstances, just how they end up running. But he's doing a fantastic job. He started 29th. Now you see Sean Rogers gonna go down pit road right here. This is going to be key right here, Eddie. Will the field end up following Sean Rogers down pit road? Because you know everybody knows about it. Everybody talking about it in their team chats, knowing that Sean Rogers has worked his way down pit road for what will be his final pit stop. Is this going to pull other drivers down pit road, and when will they come down pit road?
Well, and he's doing the strategy you kind of suggested, which is splitting this right in half. He had 40 laps on those tires. He's got 40 laps to go as Kyle Holden spins it.
Kyle
Holden
goes around. Caution will be on the speedway, and Eddie, that changes everything right there. And you see right there, Kyle Holden just in disbelief at just what happened.
He gets
hit.
hit.
Gets slammed by Paul Whitley. And you know right now he's got to be a little bit pissed off about that because he had a clean car. I mean, he ended up tagging a wall a little bit, but then Whitley just comes in there full send. I guess he didn't know he was there and just runs straight into him. I mean,
take a look
from
at this
bad
replay.
to worse right there with Kyle Holden.
Yeah, let's take a look at this replay. I just swapped to him as he was spinning out, so not really sure what happened, if he just kind of maybe shifted down too early. You can see he's out of shape on the entry, and he's trying to catch it. My goodness, unbelievable. He's able to stay out of the way, and then all of a sudden, the 74, he's at the start-finish line when...
Caution's already out.
Yeah, he's already out.
Wow.
Yeah, I am speechless at that right there.
There may be some beef going on right there. I got a damn good feeling on that one, Eddie. There's got to be some beef right there.
There's some definitely beef from Kyle Holden.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm guaranteeing you that.
I want to go on board and see what happened to Kyle here as he's going down in the corner. If he maybe money shifted. He did. He shifted down to third, which is why it all kind of got out of shape. And, yeah, he's able to hang on to it, and he's just kind of keeping that thing just out of the way, waiting on the whole field to come through. And then Paul Whitley just going to come in at the last second. And you said caution is out. Look how long he stayed there. He locks up the fronts, and golly.
And see, and that right there, that's a time when you don't want to have VR, which obviously Kyle Holden did not. But if you got VR right there, and then you're able to look over and see that coming through turn one and know that he's fixing to hit you, I mean,
look at this battle off pit road.
Scare the hell out of you. Check it out, Shane Davis. Maybe got Brandon Bakke. I believe he did.
Yeah, I think he did. So Shane Davis back up to the point. Man, what a long road for Shane Davis to get back up there. He had an issue about I don't know, about 80 laps ago or 60 laps ago, where he kind of got loose in the middle of the field and went all the way back. And man, what a fight to get back up here. And actually to win that battle off of pit road. It was because he was 0.3 of a second faster in total than Brandon Bakke on pit road, and then that dice roll of a pit stop, he was 14.3 versus Brandon Bike's 14.6. So just a better job getting on and off pit road, and then got lucky with a good pit stop there. So that's going to change a lot. I mean, it's good for Bakke. He's going to be on equal tires, but man, what a lot of guys with some real tough luck there. I mean, to have a couple leaders spin. We saw Caden Orfrey spin out of the lead. We saw everybody up front has had some sort of issue tonight. So it's almost like you don't want to be up front, Jake.
Add Sean Rogers to that mix, honestly, Eddie, because Rogers was on pit road when that caution came out. And, I mean, that kind of screwed him right there. So, he's going to be way back in the field. Nowhere near where he was at before he ended up making that pit stop. So Rogers literally having to let everybody go from what I'm seeing right here. So Rogers is going to go basically back to the tail end there. You see right there where Rogers at. He's got nobody behind him. He's all the way back there at the back. So starting to kind of see a trend here, Eddie. You know, it goes, just out of nowhere, things can happen like that. And then sometimes it feels like, bad can go to worse. It just seems like that's a trend that we're having here tonight at Gateway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a testament to how hard these guys are driving. We could call it bad luck, bad juju, whatever you want to call it. But it's just the aggressiveness these guys are having and the focus that you have to be good in this series, good enough to win. It requires a ton of focus and making no mistakes, any mistake, it's going to be hard to come back from. I mean, Chad Sullivan dominated the first part of this race, and he got a penalty, and is now just clawed back into the top 10, and now is going to actually benefit from that. He's going to be in 6th. So the 21 is back into this fight. That caution's definitely going to help. He was almost 9.5 seconds back before that caution came out. So yeah, I mean, it's just a testament to how good these guys are, man. They are really incredible racers that you can't make mistakes and expect to recover. Not in this series.
No, I mean, that's what you got to, try to. I mean, you got to be able to try to recover as best as you can. But one thing that's going to be big about this for Chad Sullivan, he's back there. He is behind a lot of cars. I mean, granted, sitting pretty good spot up there. Obviously, going to be on the bottom side, but a lot of cars up there and dirty air back there where he's at behind all them cars. Eddie, that could play a factor right here for Chad Sullivan.
Well, Shane Davis not going to spin the tires on this restart. I can almost guarantee it. He's going to have control of it. Brandon Bikey on the outside, and Shane Davis lays the power down and able to get a great jump. Brandon Bikey going to kind of clear here as, man, look at Blaze Crawford looking to maybe make it 3 wide there into turn 1, and it closed up quickly as Blaine Wilson and Brandon Fetterplace banging doors through. There's a podcast named after door banging download, or I believe.
Yes,
I'm stuttering. I stuttered
yes,
into 3
we
wide.
got some contact
Oh!
in better place. And Wilson, they end up going up hard into the wall. Caution on the speedway after Crawford gets into Fetter Place, sends him up into Wilson. Fetter Place, his car looks like a damn modified on a short track Saturday night now. And unfortunate for Fetter Place because he was in a great position. We hadn't talked a whole lot about Brandon Fetter Place all night long, sitting up there in the top 5, and just this little bit of contact there. There you see right there. I mean, Blaze was there.
Yeah.
I mean, Blaze was there, Eddie, and Fetter Place was just trying to get him to maybe check up right there. But hey, I mean, it's go time right here, baby. I mean, you're coming down to 30 laps to go. There ain't nobody lifting at that point, and Crawford didn't lift right there. He gets into Fetter Place. Blaine Wilson, poor Blaine Wilson. Wrong place, wrong time. Matter of fact, I thought I just saw Gallimora go through there sideways as well. So a lot of hell going on over there in turn 3.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a case of I wish you would for Brandon Fetterplace, which is I wish you would just let off and let me hold on to this spot. But unfortunately, the 15 was down there, and you said it. It's go time. They're banging doors here. The 15 is going to get a nice run here. The 34 just trying to stop him from going 3 wide, and just that little bit of contact right here. I mean, Blaze got to make the corner, so Fetter Place, I mean, just not much he could do there. And fortunately for Blaine Wilson, he's just caught up into it. But yeah, it's hard for me to say. I mean, that's a racing deal for sure. But I think Blaze was well within his right there, especially with those guys door banging and losing that momentum. He was well within his right to try to make it 3 wide. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%, Eddie. I mean, say that happens on, say, lap 5, then you could look at it to a certain extent as, well, maybe Crawford should have lifted. That's if it was lap 5. This is not lap 5, folks. We're coming down to the nitty-gritty right here at the end of this race right here. You're not lifting for anybody at that point. So, like I said, if it had been earlier on in the race, Crawford, if that would have happened right there, you maybe could point the blame at old Blinky back there. Crawford blinking a little bit more now. But, you probably could point the finger at him at that point, but not at this point right there. I mean, he's got to make the corner somehow or another, and he's not lifting, because Crawford's been up here at the front the whole time. And, I mean, kudos to, Crawford for standing his ground right there. I mean, you hate to see it for Fetter Place and really hate to see it for Wilson because Wilson didn't have a damn thing to do with it. But, I mean, that's racing, man. I mean, it's just a racing deal. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just hard racing towards the end of this race. And I don't know. I mean, if I'm the 34, I'm trying to make sure I lean up on Blaine Wilson there to try to get a better entry into the corner. Because I don't think, even if that contact didn't happen, I'm just not sure how well he was going to make that entry. So it's going to be tough all around. But it's going to kind of reset here. Shane Davis able to get that top spot. Brandon Bikey was settling in second, but Chad Sullivan has been able to move himself into the 4th position, and he is right back in this thing. Matt Cox has gotten himself back in the 6th. I don't know. We kind of forgotten about him. He was in danger. He's trying to go down pit road multiple times, try to fix that damage after the contact with Jeffrey. And now he is back up into the top 10, showing why he is going to come out of this race with the points lead, as he has been able to fight like hell to get back up through the field. So a lot can still go on here. Obviously, nobody's safe up front in the back. Even if you're stopped on the track letting everybody go, you're not safe, Jake.
No, you're not. I mean, nobody is safe here at this point. Matter of fact, talking about Kyle Holden. Holden is back out on the track. He's still on the lead lap, but currently sitting back there in the 27-28 spot, somewhere in that range. We are getting double filed up for a restart. And, I mean, Eddie, you got the players up here at the front. You got Shane Davis. You started on the pole. You got Brandon Backey. Not real sure, if there was a penalty for him at the start of the race as to why he had to start back there in the 29th spot, why he did that. We're not sure. But one of the big players got 2 wins on the season, trying to go for 3. He's going to be starting in 2nd. Blaze Crawford, anybody on our racing knows who Blaze Crawford is. Very, very fast driver out here running here with the Moonshiners Racing League. And then old Chad Sullivan just trying to fight back, trying to claw back. And old Jordan Smeets up there in the top 5 started all the way back outside the top 30.
Yeah, and in the first 2 rows, there are 5 wins combined for these drivers. So they are definitely race winners, and they are all trying to add to that total here, as we got 30 laps to go here at Gateway. Who is going to come away with the victory? Don't seem like anybody wants to win, but we'll see who can get the victory. Shane Davis gets a great jump. Brandon Bikey did not, as, man, look at Blaze Crawford down to the inside, going to try to lean on the one, try to move him up out of the groove, and actually does a great job. Now on the back bumper.
He's got him right on the back bumper. A couple of drivers going around a little bit, but everybody saves it. Crawford trying to go to the outside. Blaze Crawford going to try to make a pass on the outside. Davis going to slide up. Here comes Bikey down on the bottom side. And old Chad Sullivan, he actually going to slip back right behind Jordan Smeets. Smeets able to slide around him. But folks, this is right here. This is going to be the battle that we're going to be talking about for the next week or so. Crawford and Davis up here at the front. Crawford trying to hold on as much as he can in the pole center. Davis trying to get him a win here at Gateway. And the super sub, I guess you could say, that being Blaze Crawford, sitting comfortably right behind Davis. When's he going to make his move, and how's he going to make his move? Only time will tell, Eddie.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I'm gonna do something that a broadcaster should never do, which is give out info that I think is gonna hurt this competition right here. Which is, I think Shane Davis, Blaze Crawford knows that there are still 30 plus laps, maybe even with a green-white checker to go, and Blaze has been somebody who has really burned those tires up over time. So I think Shane just trying to save those tires, but keep Blaze behind him, and I think Brandon Bikey knows exactly what he needs to do. He said, go ahead, 15, we'll let you go. You go burn those tires up, and I'll be right back around you the next 20 laps. So I think if you're Blaze, you got to be thinking about that. Just say, hey, I'm going to save my tires, kind of run back here, find me a good opportunity, and not burn them off, as that is eating him alive the last couple long runs that we had. So.
Well, Eddie, you never know. Hell, he could have been playing possum, literally,
could be, yeah,
throughout this race. So there's a possibility that he may be out there acting like that he's burning his tires up. And, when it comes down to crunch time right here, inside of 30 to go, hey, the gloves are off. That's how you end up doing it right there. So Crawford may end up playing possum, folks. There's a possibility that Crawford may have played him like a fiddle, I guess you could say, however you want to look at it. But Crawford's still getting loose off of turn 2. He ends up getting that run off of 2, but by the time he gets off 2, back end already starts to try to come around, and he's not able to put the power down and be able to try to get this run around Davis. So I wouldn't be surprised Crawford putting a lot of pressure all over the back bumper of Davis right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Crawford maybe try to move him right here.
Shane Davis is doing some pretty impressive tire saving, but also track position protecting type driving. That's a lot of stuff there. And you see Blaze giving him a bump, saying, I'm not appreciating that. And watch as Shane is entering in on the low side, not giving him that ability to dive. He didn't do it this time, but the last couple laps, he got to have that inside track, blocking that inside line to not allow Blaze to drive it deep in there. And then he's parking it on the middle of the corner. He's having to save tires because as much as he doesn't want Blaze to get around him, he knows that those drivers back in third and fourth are going to be saving tires, so he has to consider that. And so he is doing a great job of trying to protect the position. You're going to see Blaze get a run here. And look at Shane cover that inside, trying to make sure he can't get down to the inside of him, and just doing the best he can. That's why Blaze has been able to get to his back bumper in the middle of these corners, and Shane really parking it in the middle, trying to save those tires. So really masterful type of driving from Shane Davis there. It's really impressive trying to keep that track position, but also not allow Blaze to push you too hard where you burn those tires up.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a fantastic job. Basically, the top 4 drivers, really, Davis, Crawford, Mikey, and Sullivan, trying to see if they can break away from Jordan Schmeets. Actually, matter of fact, Jordan Schmeets in a little bit of a battle back here with Hunter Carmichael. Carmichael's had his share of issues here this evening. And how about Matt Cox? We talked about him earlier on in the race. Talked about the little scuffle that he had with Jeffrey Taylor. Cox has got himself back in contention, get himself a top 5. Well, I mean, even a top 10 at this point would be great for Matt Cox coming into Gateway here tonight. Currently sitting in the 7th spot. So, I mean, great drive by Cox from having that earlier issues that he had with Jeffrey Taylor. And he's got himself up here comfortably inside the top 10. How about Paul Gallimore up here as well, sitting in 8th? I mean, just so many drivers. I mean, hell, the list goes on and on and on.
Well, there's Sean Rogers.
Guys, even Sean Rogers. I mean, you know, where did he come from? Hell, he was up there running 4th, and then he ends up getting pinned after that caution happened. You know, when Paul Whitley had his little deal, you know, with Holden. So, I mean, just so many guys rising to the occasion right here, especially with Rogers taking a shot right here at Belmont going into 3.
Yeah, so Sean Rogers been able to recover, and now looking down to the inside of Dustin Belmont. And I'll tell you right up front, it is, I hate to turn off a battle, but there's just too much going on up front. I mean, Blaze is trying to get around the 79, just hasn't been able to do it, but it's Shane is actually kind of backing up both of them to Brandon Bikey and Chad Sullivan. So I'm telling you, Shane is doing a masterful job of saving those tires, saving that car to make it to the finish and not be baited into driving too aggressively. And he is doing a great job. As you see, he's backing them up to the final, you know, to Chad and Brandon. So I know that Shane would love for Brandon and Chad to get up there and battle with Blaze and allow him to start to tiptoe away a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he's actually trying to do is actually Mikey and Sullivan. They are starting to, I guess you could say, try to reel this battle in. Really, it's coming down to a 4-horse race up here. Schmeets back there still got his hands full with Carmichael. And I think that's what Davis really wants is Crawford to end up getting caught by Mikey and Sullivan. And it looks like that there's a possibility that that's going to end up happening right here, folks. 20 laps to go this time by right here. It's going to be 19 laps to go. Shane Davis right now rising to the occasion. He's got the lead of the race. Hell, he put the damn thing on the pole, and he's doing a fantastic job keeping it right in front of one of the best iRacing's got to offer, that being Blaze Crawford. As you see Davis jump down to the bottom, try to break that draft, folks. I know I talked about it being a short track, but with these long straightaways, and you know how, I mean, just how these next-gen cars is, you can get a little bit of a draft. So kudos to Davis for not trying to give Crawford any advantage, as now you see Crawford, he's getting, I mean, Davis is getting what he asked for right here. Here comes Bikey. Bikey's starting to put a little pressure now on Blaze Crawford in the 15.
Yeah, this race coming down to a close. If we go green all the way, that will be the longest run that we will have had all night long. And I think they're definitely good on fuel, but tires is obviously something that people are going to be considering here. Who has saved the tires the best? And you could see Blaze I mean, it's been the story all night, and while he has been very exciting and been a lot of fun to watch, it's just it shows these guys just really impressive driving all around. But Blaze all night has just really been struggling on those older tires. And I know that if you're looking at the scoreboard, while Blaze is showing second or third, he's actually back in the well, he's showing right now. It's not right in the time and scoring. So if you see it up there, it's because he was having some connection issues that kind of messed up the timing and scoring. So Crawford will be a little bit off a couple times. It should reset at some point. I think it did now. So, but yeah, he's starting to fade here. And look at Chad Sullivan now starting to make his way up into that third position. So, yeah, Blaze starting to fade here. He's got 15 more laps to go. He's going to have all that he can stand here from this 21 car.
Yeah, I mean, but that's still big, you know, for Blaze because, you know, we talked about it earlier on before the race started, and, you know, he's still running for team points. You know, he's still running for those team points with that particular team, obviously, that they're racing with, which is Dig Esports. So, you know, Alex Coffey being over there on that team, that 15 car still being out here. There's still points as well. Door banging right there between Chad Sullivan and Blaze Crawford. Sullivan's kind of ran him up the hill a little bit. Crawford's going to get out of the gas. Let Sullivan go right there. So Sullivan's going to jump up to the third spot. But caution! Caution is on the speedway, Eddie. That changes every damn thing. The 10 car ends up going around Warren Young coming off a 2.
Yeah, that Blaze Wilson, or excuse me, Blaze Crawford, very excited to see that caution, as that is right up his alley of what he needs. Let's go back and see what happened. And oh my goodness. Oh, you were talking about beef earlier. We got some beef.
That's a good possibility right here. Nigel Christensen set it down on the bottom side. You see Warren Young, you'll see it right there. Christensen sends it down on the bottom side. He tries to get checked up. Warren Young, hell, I think he missed the brakes right there. Drove it straight up into Christensen. Christensen tries to keep it straight, and then Warren Young got down there on the rumble strips and got on the grass a little bit as well. And it just sent him straight around. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of guys doing a lot of beating and banging right here.
Let's go back a lap and see if we can see exactly what caused that issue before we get into pit stops. But trying to see if maybe there was some contact maybe from the earlier part of the race that we're not quite seeing. No, it looks like Warren just going to get a little bit tight off the exit of the corner. And I'm going to tell you right here.
Full sand right there, son.
Well, you know what? You know what? I wonder if he didn't. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. I wonder if he didn't miss a gear trying to get down. I'll back it up just a little bit because the initial thought is he just ran him over. But I wonder if he didn't four-wheel slide on this exit.
It's a good possibility. Yeah, I mean, he hits the. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really sideways, you know, when he went in the corner right there, Eddie. So
I don't know.
maybe he thought how Christensen was entering turn 1 right there, that he thought Christensen might overdrive the corner, and then Young was just going to try to cross him over and jump back down to the bottom and then jump past him. But here's the thing about that is, you know, Christensen, he's on the lead lap. Warren Young, he's 4 laps down. So
yeah.
Kind of curious as to why that happened right there. And I'm sure Nigel Christensen's probably a little bit ticked off about that as well. So a lot of ticked off drivers, I guess you could say, here tonight at Gateway. But I'll say this, Eddie, he's got a little bit different up here. 2 guys stayed out right there, Barry Sanders and Chris Davis. They decided to stay on the racetrack and take their chances on old shoes. Oh, this is going to be a hell of a restart right here.
Well, let me tell you this. This is my favorite part of racing because what have I been kind of hounding on? Looks like the 15. He's back here in the 11th position. But yeah, so these 2 drivers up front, my timing and scoring is kind of off a little bit. I don't know. I think good Lord, I'm having a tough time here tonight. The 15, Blaze Crawford, connection issues a couple times. Kind of the scoring got kind of out of whack. But anyway, Barry Sanders, Chris Davis stayed out onto that caution. So I wonder if they're out of tires. They only have 6 sets, so 5 in the pits, I believe. And both those drivers have been down pit road 6+ times. So I think these two drivers are just out of tires. Now, everybody behind them took 2. So interesting call that we haven't seen done just yet here tonight. And we're going to see how that plays out. And Blaze Crawford will be the first driver on 4 tires. But he's going to be back in 11th and only going to be about 9 laps to go. I don't know if that's going to be enough time. So all kinds of strategy calls, guys running out of tires. This is going to be a wild finish.
Yeah, I mean, and also, throw another wrench into it as well as these restarts, that we talked about, obviously. You talk about the tire spin. We've already seen that numerous times right here on these restarts. You throw in the cold tires, the hot tires, trying to come off a turn 2. But let's not shy away from the fact of what I was talking about earlier, with guys trying to dive it down going into turn 1. There is that possibility that you may see somebody duck out of line. With everything that's lined up, somebody may try to miss a shift. Somebody might be late on their shift. Somebody might shift early. So there's a possibility at that where guys down here on the inside, maybe like a Blaze Crawford, just out here just running for points to be able to send it on the inside and try to have a shot to try to get up here, get him some extra spots. So, I mean, this is going to be crazy right here. I mean, folks, we're coming to 10 laps to go. Shout it out there in that live chat. Who you think's going to win? We've already heard from a lot of you viewers out there on who's going to win this sucker. A lot of you thinking Blaze. Some were thinking Kyle. But, I mean, a lot of stuff going on right here, folks. Shout it out. Who's going to win it here tonight?
Hayes' car pulls off. Barry Sanders going to need to get a good jump and get gone. That's for sure. What is Shane Davis and Brandon Bikey going to do? And Bikey going to get stuck behind Chris Davis, which is going to allow Shane to get to that inside. That's exactly what he needed. Now Bikey going to be under fire from Chad in that 21. But Barry Sanders able to get away.
Yeah, Barry's going to get away. Bikey gets a little loose. Sullivan got loose behind him and got into Bikey. No caution yet on the speedway, but now they're going to wad him up coming into turn 3. 4, 5, 6 cars going around. A couple of them went into the grass after Bikey and Sullivan made contact. And then just some innocent bystanders going into turn 3 got sent down in the grass. Some of them took a hellacious hit to the inside retaining wall. So caution out once again here at Gateway.
Yeah, that was just, I mean, that's late race stuff right there. Oh man, Chad Sullivan. Big hit is, oh my goodness, look at that. All kinds, that's Kyle Holden again involved as they're going to go around multiple drivers because of that. We'll go back and check Bikey here. You can see he's 3 wide with Chad. Cuts him off into the corner. I don't know if maybe Chad didn't appreciate that. We'll see if, I think Bikey just got loose. Yeah, and they both got loose, actually. The 21 gets loose, and when they corrected, they kind of caught up, and Bikey just kind of slowly rolls back up into the track. And wow, a lot of really good drivers tore up there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if anybody wanted to see that right there, that was Barry Sanders, because that just gives him a couple of extra laps. Be able to try to make it to the end and try to salvage some kind of finish here tonight. But there you see, Bikey gets loose. Sullivan got loose. Sullivan was just trying to straighten it back out. Ends up tagging him in the left rear, and then Sullivan takes a hard impact into the wall. And there you saw the aftermath after Bikey ended up just slowly merging back up on the racetrack. And, unfortunate to see that Hunter Carmichael once again almost got caught up in some mess once again. There you see Bikey just trying to merge back up. Fenders everywhere, cars everywhere, scattered down there in the infield. Got the grass tore up and everything. This lawns, or the groundskeeper, I guess you could say, here at Gateway's got to have a tough time, especially with how many guys has got loose off of 2 and set it down there in the grass down there in the infield.
Yeah, wow. Well, that one wreck took out 2 of the, really guys that had race-winning speed. I mean, Chad Sullivan, bless his heart, man, had run up front the whole race, got that penalty, goes all the way to the back, took his time to get back up to the front, and then right as he gets up into the top 3, contact with the 1, and now he is likely going to be out of this thing. Man, what a tough race for Chad to fight all the way back, and then here with just 10 laps to go, now out of it. If you're Shane Davis, you got to be smiling from ear to ear. He has got the freshest tires. He's going to be on the front row for the start. And Barry is, you alluded to it, Barry is just hoping that we have constant cautions over and over again. He's going to be able to get away. But every restart that we have, Shane Davis is only going to get stronger. That first restart there, the tires were cold on Bikey and Shane Davis. They didn't have the speed that they'll have the next restart and the restart after as the tires get up to temp. So I think Barry is going to really have to hope for a caution before turn 1 a couple times and then survive a green-white checkered. It's going to be very, very difficult for Barry Sanders to hold off the 79 car.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, with anybody, I mean, if anybody had a shot at it, I mean, you know, with a name like Barry Sanders, I mean, hell, I mean, there's a possibility to be able to try to, you know, run like you stole it, I guess you could say. There you see Barry Sanders right there, got the virtual cam right there. Like, I mean, it's like I said, you know, I mean, he's in this situation, you know, probably because either he put himself in that situation or just because, you know, that's just how the luck is. But I mean, still got a good shot right here. I mean, let's not shy away from the fact right here. I mean, they're going to be coming back this time around, 5 laps to go this time by as they're getting double filed up. So Barry's got a shot, but it's like you said, Shane Davis, he's got to be grinning from ear to ear. And matter of fact, you know, he's not in a bad spot right now as far as his teammate goes, because if I'm not mistaken, you know, his teammate Chris Davis is up there as well. You know, with Shane Davis, I'm sure, I mean, I'm not 100% if they're related or not. They probably are. But, you know, Chris Davis, haven't talked a lot about him. He's sitting up there comfortably in the 3rd spot. Hunter Carmichael, he's dealt with some stuff here this evening. Schmeets is back up here. Gallimore is back up here. Sean Rogers, I mean, and even Blaze Crawford on those 4 fresh tires right here, Eddie. He's got a shot to try to close this thing out, too. So, I mean, anything can happen. Hell, we've seen, it's like you said earlier, we've seen them wreck from the lead, we've seen them wreck from the back, we've seen them wreck from the middle. Anything can happen right here on this restart.
Yeah, and Barry Sanders would love to get a win. Still has not gotten a win on the season, has had a couple opportunities, just hasn't been able to get it done. But Barney's got the green flag in his hands, and here we go. 5 laps to go. Barry going to get a great jump, but I tell you what, Shane Davis right there with him. He's going to have that outside line, I think, going into 1. He drives it deep into the door of the 88, knowing that he had to get out to the outside. He's going to get out there. Look at Blaze. Blaze Wilson. Oh, and the leader's wrecked. They're wrecking in front of him. No caution. Caution is out as Barry Sanders' big hit. And guess who came out with the lead? Blaze Crawford there on those 4 fresh tires, come away with the lead. We're going to have to go back and watch that again because there was a lot that went on there.
Holy hell, Eddie! I mean, I just basically said it when they was coming off of turn 4. Hell, anything could happen on this restart, and damn if it did not. I mean, all the way back from coming off of turn 4, there you see.
Let's go on this restart. Yeah, let's go to the restart with Blaze and watch from his point of view, because he is back here quite a few rows back.
That basically just lined him up perfect right there. You just see him able to get clear and jump down in behind the 29. Chris Davis right here. Then you're going to see the little bit of contact right here by Sanders. Wow, looked like Davis maybe had come down right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looked like. Davis may have come down and got into Sanders. And then Blaze was just able just to slide by each and every bit of it. Hell, even Chris Davis ended up getting a little piece of it as well. But there you see Shane Davis up on the top side. Damn, I mean, that's close. I mean, you know, Sanders was coming up, and it did look like from the other camera angle, Shane Davis was coming down as well. I mean, that's going for it right there, coming down to the wire, baby. That's just going for it right there.
Yeah, let's try to zoom it in just a little bit and see if maybe there was a little bit of net code. I mean, obviously, contact was made there. Shane knew he had to get to the outside, didn't want to get boxed in behind the 88. And then, yeah, I mean, I think the 88 was just trying to be aggressive there and actually couldn't see shit on that the damn cameras are turned too far. But You know, I think Hunter Carmichael may have the best view of it, so let's go on board with him and try to get a better view. The cameraman is completely fired.
Well, I mean, but honestly, I mean, you know, I
Watch
still
right
look
here.
at it. Yeah, I mean, I still look at it like this. I mean, there you saw Davis. I mean, he did come down a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
a racing
sitting
deal,
there saying
huh?
that Sanders didn't come up. Sanders came up, Davis come down. Hell, I think they met in the damn middle, to be honest with you.
I think that's a
Uh,
racing deal for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's straight up a racing deal right there. Carmichael able to send it by, and then there you saw Blaze Crawford. I mean, just damn look of the draw right there for the 15, just to slide right by all of it. I did mention that Chris Davis got tagged in the back end, but he was able to get the car straightened back out, so he didn't get nothing tore up. So he's going to be on the outside right here for this restart. Hunter Carmichael, Sean Rogers going to be up here. And matter of fact, Barry Sanders, he's going to stay out there with a tore up race car as well as Shane Davis. Matter of fact, both of them side by side right here coming off of turn 2. They may be exchanging some virtual words back and forth to one another right now.
Yeah, obviously not going to be too happy about that. But, I mean, for Blaze Crawford, you know, I've been kind of dogging him all race long for his long run speed. And here at the end, it don't matter. He's got the 4 tires. The only guy that's got 4 tires around him is Matt Cox back in 7th. Everybody else is on 2 tires. So he's got the tire advantage. He's got the lead. And we have 1 green-white checkered. And so, I mean, with that move there in turn 1 and 2, able to get up there and then dodge that wreck, saving tires is out the window. We ain't worried about saving tires anymore. We can't take them with them. And we only got 3 laps to go. So, Blaze, and now that things have changed, that long run to the finish, I think Blaze is in trouble. But in this situation right here, I think he's got everything he needs to get this thing done.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't count out some of these guys behind him. I mean, you know, like Hunter Carmichael. I mean, it's like I talked about short track mentality right here. Carmichael may send it in a little bit too deep, and there's a possibility he can slide Crawford out of the way. So a lot of guys wanting to try to get the win, you know, here in this 162 lap race here at Gateway. So, I mean, it's like I said a while ago, you know, I mean, this restart, it could be the craziest one. I mean, hell, we thought we'd already seen a crazy one, and then bam, we just saw it a second ago. But I do want to mention, we talked about Matt Cox, talked about him on those 4 fresh tires back there as well. This right here is what he really needs, because granted, it's say the 15 wins, it doesn't matter for Cox, because guess what? Coffee ain't in that car. So Cox is going to be able to try to secure the points lead here tonight, which is a damn good possibility with how Cox sitting up there running in that 8th spot. But here we go, Eddie. We're getting ready for the final restart of the evening. Who is going to win this sucker?
Yeah, Blaze, only person that can beat Blaze right now is himself. Does not want to spin the tires. Don't money shift it going down into 1 and 2. Set sail, and you got this thing won. A caution comes out, and it is over. Through the gears as Barry Sanders is there. They are, oh my gosh, massive wreck as Barry Sanders just could not go, and that will do it. Blaze Crawford will win here tonight at Gateway. What a fantastic race. What a great win. That last caution, be able to get there, you can see the big old smile on his face. UPS is going to be, I mean, he's going to be throwing all kinds of packages back there tonight. So a lot of people are going to get what they need. I can't wait to ask him what those are. That's what I'm excited. I don't know if they might be T-shirts. I don't know. But we're going to talk to him. But, man, how about that? I think you were kind of you kind of had zeroed in on him all night long, Jake. And now you look like a real winner as Blaze able to get the victory.
Well, I mean, Eddie, you know, I've raced against him a couple of times, you know, mainly in the trucks. Never really raced against him in these next-gen cars, but I know that Blaze is very, very fast in those trucks, and these next-gen cars, to a certain extent, are somewhat close, you know, to the trucks as far as the aero and the momentum and everything that you got to deal with. But you're checking out right here the instant replay of what happened. I mean, you basically called it. Sanders, I mean, he just tried to get on the loud pedal, probably spun the tires just a little bit, and, you know, it ended up costing him right there. As you see, very, very tight up here in front of him. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think, well, I mean, he probably shifted at the wrong time. Maybe that's what it was. But I got a feeling that the tires was probably the main factor as to why he ended up going around right there.
Yeah, watching this from his point of view this time, you can see a little check up here. Yeah, and he just, when he shifts, I think he probably got his rear tires picked up when that accordion effect happened. He shifted at just the worst time. Not his fault. I think he was just trying to keep the tires from spinning, and it's just an accordion effect there. I don't know if he did anything wrong. Yeah, just a tough night for him. That could have been, a win. Now just kind of falls apart with just less than 10 laps to go. But here comes Blaze Crawford coming around. We'll see if he does any donuts, and then we'll jump right into our interviews, and we'll talk to these guys and see what they think. Burns it down on the front stretch, your winner, Blaze Crawford. Let's take a little short break. We'll be right back, and we'll give you the results, and we'll talk to these guys. All right, we are back, and let's take a look at the results and see where everybody finished. Blaze Crawford takes the win. Chris Davis comes home in second. Hunter Carmichael in third. We'll talk to those drivers in just a moment. Sean Rogers comes home in fourth. Fifth, Jordan Schmeetz. Paul Gallimore in sixth. Tim Wortman Jr. didn't really talk about him much all night long, but he started seventh, finished seventh. That is a good night for that 83 machine. Still looking for that win, but you keep having finishes like this, he's going to get that win soon enough. Matt Cox comes home in 8th. Justin Belmont in 9th. 10th is Nick King.
Then you got Shane White. Haven't talked a lot about him tonight, but he's going to end up finishing in 11th. Nick Atwood will end up finishing in 12th. Good drive for him. Started 26th all the way up to 12th. Brandon Bikey. Talked about him a while ago. He was up there at the front. He had a shot to win it. He started 29th. He's going to end up finishing 13th, with John Binder will end up finishing in the 14th spot. Jamison Middlemas will end up finishing 15th. Ryan Huff finishing in 16th. Dean Motley, how about this? He spun out earlier. He's going to end up getting him a top 20 finish out of it, finishing 17th. Aaron Matthews will end up finishing 18th. Matthew Campbell will get 19th. And poor old Barry Sanders. See, I'm thinking Brandon too, right? Barry Sanders, after that little bit of a spin right there on the front stretch, he's going to come home 20th.
Yeah, and then and just somebody that indirectly was involved in that too, Shane Davis, who had race winning speed. He's going to finish last car on the lead lap. Kyle Holden, who was up front, spun out in the lead, finishes in 22nd. Randy Mullins having a tough night. He comes home in 23rd. 24th is going to be Nigel Christensen, Sean Kaltenbach. All these guys are really fast drivers having really tough nights. Tucker Rhodes coming home in 26th. Chad Sullivan in 27th. My timing and scoring is all jacked up. Warren Young in 28th. Caden Norfrey in 29th. And Brandon Fetterplace is going to be your top 30. Blaine Wilson in 31st. Paul Whitley, Jake. Just going to zoom right on through these. Darren Mills in 33rd. Garrett Crawford, Andrew Nieder, Jared Clark, Jeffrey Taylor, and Matt Mackin rounds out your field. Well, I want to talk to some of these drivers, and I need to talk to our race winner because I don't think I gave him the credit he deserved all night long. Was pretty hard on his tire saving ability, but at the end did not matter. Blaze, what a great race, great win. Congratulations. First question though I have, what the hell are those boxes behind you?
So this is like a family business that we have here. So my room isn't quite big enough for my setup, and it's just really crammed in there. So all the room out here, it just felt like a lot better of a place to put it. Got all the free space in here. But yeah, it's just like a family business.
Cool. Well, anyway, I appreciate you letting us have a little fun with that. But yeah, well, you had a lot of speed tonight, and I think it's very clear. And I'm eating crow. I'm doing the interview with you because I was like, hey, Blaze is going to burn the tires up, and he did that a couple times. So a couple of those runs, you started off, you were really fast, and then would fade at the end of those runs. Did you try anything to try to fix that, to change that in the middle of the race, or were you pretty confident about your ability on those short runs?
Well, yeah, I knew that my setup was really fast for like 20 laps every run, but in that first stage, I realized I fell off a cliff. And I tried to do some things to tighten it up, and with the track temp going down, I thought it would help, but it was a struggle after about 25 laps, and I just knew I just had to go as hard as I could for 20 laps, and then just try to hold on as much as I could the rest of the run. But in the way the cautions rolled out, it worked really well to where I knew that if we got a late race yellow, I could just blow by these guys, and going from 11th to first in those last 10 laps kind of showed that for sure. So just kind of had to utilize what I had and put that dig motor out front, you know.
There you go. Well, hey, I tell you what, you came down and took those four tires, and I thought, my goodness, if there anybody on four tires can make it happen, it's you. And then you had a couple restarts, and then on that one restart where Barry and Shane kind of get together off of two, what was your thought as you were trying to make the pass for third, and you came off the corner and you had the lead, the caution came out. What was the thought once that happened? What was going through your brain when all that went down?
I was shocked. Like I was just like hoping to get to like third before the next caution would come out, and then me and Chris kind of touched, and I kind of felt bad. I was talking to him. I thought maybe I got him involved in that wreck, um, by the contact, but it looked like I was just a bounce, and then he just got clipped by someone else. So I came off too, and then I saw them all getting together. I just turned it as far left as I could just to get away from them, and by the time the caution came out, I was the leader. So yeah, I got pretty lucky there.
Yeah, well, hey, that was a blast of a race, and I tell you right now, if anybody made this race exciting, it was definitely you. You put on a great show, and we obviously appreciate that in the booth. So, congratulations, man, on a win. Really incredible drive tonight, and to take advantage of everything that happened at the end, get that win, you definitely deserved it. So, congratulations on the victory, and as always, man, at the end of these things, who do you have to thank? Any sponsor shout outs?
Well, thank you guys for having such an awesome broadcast. It was really fun. I was listening to it during the race. You guys are great. You make it fun. I appreciate the cameras. Like it's such a cool broadcast so that my family and everyone could watch. My girlfriend was watching, so it's really appreciated to have such an awesome broadcast. I can't thank Alex enough. I found out I was racing like 24 hours ago. So he needed to fill in. So I was like, dude, yeah, I can do it. I'm off work. So can't thank him enough. Put the dig motor in victory lane. First dig motor win from what I'm hearing. So I hope to be back. Maybe not as a sub, but maybe as full time or part time in the future. So can't thank them enough for letting me race the car tonight. And yeah, thank you guys for such an awesome broadcast.
Well, absolutely. Well, congratulations again on that win. That is your winner here tonight. Subbing in for Alex Coffey. What a great sub he picked. Comes away with the victory. Blaze Crawford takes the victory here tonight. Well, I think that I don't know what was going on there, Jake, on the cameras, but I think you're caught up with second place. Well, maybe Chris Davis. There he is.
Absolutely. We got Chris Davis up here in the booth. And Chris, fantastic race. Go ahead and just tell us about your race, buddy, because it come down to it come down to a hell of a lot of restarts, and you was able to put yourself in in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I honestly I just had a horrible race. I am not good at this track. I think I spent most of the time 25th back, just trying to get damage fixed from a early mess up and then in a few wrecks. So, but whenever I seen that caution come out with 10 to go, I I knew everybody was going to be coming in for two tires. I seen Barry stay out in front of me. I was like, well, if you follow him, you're just gonna follow him. So took a chance, got out there in second, and then caution just kept falling. So got lucky. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky, and I was definitely lucky.
And I mean, this has got to be big for you, especially, going into a road course next week when we go to Sonoma. But this has got to give you a lot of confidence right there, comfortably sitting inside the top 10 currently right now, which you probably end up jumping a couple of spots in the points. But it's got to give you a little bit of confidence going into road course. So I was going to get your opinion on that. What's the mindset going into Sonoma next week?
Man, road courses for me are just hit and miss. Sometimes I'm decent, a lot of times I'm not. So it's definitely a lot of confidence going into it. I got second last week, second this week. Um, Definitely don't think I'm a winner at a road course, but hey, if I can get lucky and come out with the top 5, top 10, I'm going to consider that a win too.
Where we look at it at this point, Chris, hell, you never know. At this point, we'll just go ahead and put it
Exactly.
that way. But Chris, appreciate your time. Congratulations on that second place finish. And before we let you go, you got any sponsors, any shout outs you want to thank for making it possible?
Yeah, I gotta thank Ram Welding and Fabrication for jumping on, finally getting them some spotlight that they need, and gotta thank BMP. Good group of guys. They had some tough luck tonight, and hopefully they can get turned around next week. And then gotta thank my wife and daughter for letting me do this stuff.
Chris Davis gets second here tonight. Chris, appreciate your time. And Eddie, you standing by with our third place finisher, buddy.
Yeah, got Hunter Carmichael here up into the booth, and man, that 3 car saw a lot of action here tonight. We saw you caught up in a couple incidents throughout the race, and then there at the end, able to get a third place finish. Congratulations! Talk us through your race, though. You had an up and down type of race. You started in ninth, and it just was wide open. But a way to go getting the RSI button boxes car in an interview in the RSI button boxes 200.
Oh, it was crazy. That was the first. I'd say the first 3 quarters of the race. It was great. Everyone was racing pretty good. Nice battles, hard battles. There was some tough passing. God, it was hard to pass. Track position was key. Oh yeah, I just got caught up in a few mistakes on my part, some other parts. Just racing deal happens. But yeah, I'm thrilled with a third place. Really wish we wouldn't have had a caution there at the end to maybe get a shot at the win. But I'm excited for Sonoma next week. That's a good track for us, so looking forward to it.
Well, talk a little bit about that. I mean, your race is tonight was a good one up and down. We just talked about that, but I want to talk a little bit about Sonoma. Sonoma is a tough track for any car because you just don't have a whole lot of full throttle time. You're off the throttle. You're constantly just twists and turns, uphill elevation changes. Talk about how you say it's a good track for you. What makes it good for you? What do you like about that track and specifically this car and track together?
I don't know if it's just the combo with the next gen car and the road courses, but it's fun. They're fun to drive. They're a little challenging just because the throttle gets so iffy, but they're just I don't know. I've really grown to really like road courses. Never really was a big fan of them, but when you put in a lot of work the last few years in them, and it's paid off.
Well, I mean, you've got a good couple races then if you like Sonoma. Most guys will tell you, I hate Sonoma, but you're one of the few that I talk to like, oh yeah, I'm excited. So that tells a lot about the next couple weeks. And you were sitting 7th in the point standings coming into this. And I know point standings is not something everybody thinks about all the time, but without that win, I mean, you're sitting there 7th. You finished 3rd here tonight. That's going to continue to kind of creep you up the standings. You think you'll be able to get that win next week at Sonoma? And maybe try to lock yourself in so you don't have to worry about points anymore.
I'm really hoping so. That'd be really nice. We got really good stage points tonight, and we finished well, so we had a really good points day. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna try and get that win at Sonoma. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not too worried about it. But because we got a couple other road courses coming up and some other good tracks for us, so.
All right. Well, congratulations, man, on a fantastic 3rd place finish. You had to fight for it. None of these positions these guys got today in the top 10 were easy, and had to fight through a lot of adversity and to come away with an interview. That's always a good day. So congratulations on that 3rd place finish. And as always, man, who you got to thank?
I want to thank you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. We love going back and watching these things. It's like watching a real life NASCAR race. It's fun, and you get to see yourself on TV, so it's kind of cool. I want to thank RS Button Boxes, Bad Boy Racing, Moonshiners Racing League. These guys, we got a really good group. Some tough guys in this league, man. It's hard. The last year and a half has just gone through the roof with the talent. So it's way fun. I love it.
Well, all right. Well, there you have it. Hunter Carmichael, third place finish here tonight at Gateway. And, man, I'll tell you what, Jake, that there was a lot going on in that race. I am trying to think about all the things. We could write a term paper on all the things that happened in that race. But, man, what a finish. What a win by Blaze Crawford. I mean, what are your thoughts about that whole race, your first race here at the Moonshiners Racing League?
Well, I mean, perfect timing. I mean, that's the way that I look at it, honestly, buddy. I mean, perfect timing. Appreciate you allowing me to come over here with you on Wednesday nights. Appreciate everyone within the Moonshiners Racing League allowing the Redneck announcer to come over here and call the rest of the season, helping you out. But I mean, I tell you, man, I mean, basically, I mean, you know, I seem like I say it, you know, I'm like a broken record off of all the broadcasts I say, because, you know, the fans at home, really, they get everything that they wanted out of these races, because, I mean, you got your long run, you got your short run, you got your chaos, you got your fantastic finish. May end up having some beef. I mean, hell, you literally had it all right here at Gateway. When a lot of fans look at this racetrack and go, well, you know, that track sucks. There is some people that will sit there and say that or that Gateway's not the best racetrack out there. But it does produce some crazy finishes, and it does produce, you know, some hellacious racing, and that's exactly what you saw here tonight. So congratulations to Blaze Crawford, and, you know, I mean, like I said, congratulations to the whole league, because, I mean, the whole league put on one hell of a show here this evening.
Yeah, and I will second that. Is this is one of those races, if I were to go back and watch a broadcast, which I don't normally go back and watch my own, but this series, since I've been here, has been racing that is worth watching, even if you're not involved with it. That's how good these races are. Full fields. I mean, a lot of work, obviously, from the admin team and getting people showing up every single week. And it shows in the racing itself. There's good, hard racing. There's a lot of skill levels. And these are fantastic races to go back and watch. I mean, tonight, I would give this not because of the broadcast, but because of the show these guys put on track. I would put this I'd give this to anybody. If I want to say, hey, check out this online racing, this thing we call iRacing, go check it out, I would give them this link for tonight. That was just an incredible race. So, but that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank our sponsor for tonight. I think it's RS Button Boxes. I think Carmichael gave me a little hint there that it's RS Button Boxes. So sorry about that. The RS Button Boxes 200 here in the OB Builders Cup Series. Want to thank them for all that they do for this series. Want to thank all the drivers for a fantastic race. And Jake, dadgummit, thank you for showing up, man. Made this race a lot more fun, a lot more exciting, and I think you bring something really special to these iRacing broadcasts. So want to thank everybody for watching. Everybody out there that watches, please hit subscribe. Go check out V-Speed. We got other kind of broadcasts. Got some really good people that do a lot of good work. Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, want to thank them for all the work that they do to bring these broadcasts and make them look as good as they do. That is the secret sauce. It's those two guys right there, so I want to appreciate them. And, yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Sonoma going to be doing some left and right turns, and that's going to be a blast. So we'll see you next week. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you later.